call it stone.
Straight off the bat.
Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love. I'm in Toronto.
Welcome to episode 1436 of Toronto Mic'd, proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. The Advantaged Investor Podcast from Raymond James Canada. Valuable perspective for Canadian investors who want to remain knowledgeable, informed, and focused on long-term success. And Ridley Funeral Home.
Of course.
Pillars of the community. Staples of the community since 1921. Today, returning to Toronto Mic'd is FOTM Hall of Famer Stu Stone.
Thank you, sir. It's great to be back. It's great to be back home, Mike. Can I make a suggestion just off the top?
Of course.
Yeah, you see that light you got right there?
Yeah.
Maybe just spin it like so that it faces me. Look at this. Now, look at that.
Is that okay? I don't know.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
I like it dark in here.
You like it dark?
You're worried, you know why? Because you're a movie director.
I'm just saying, like, you know, because the people who are watching live, they want to see, you know.
But now I look stupid enough.
You look great.
I actually don't care what I look like. If you're happy with how you look right now, I'm happy like this.
Let me see. It's not that much better. I just don't want to look like the guy from the Frosted Mini Wheats commercial.
Here, I got a little bit of an angle there. Okay, you look great. You know, the most recent voice of the Shredded Wheat guy is a guy I know, Pete Cuneo.
Oh yeah,
who was on Humble and Fred as scary bald-headed Pete.
That was his. That was
his nickname. Yeah, because Humble gave nicknames to everybody.
You know the commercials I'm referring to. There was like the person was like in the witness protection shadow and it's like, I eat Frosted Mini Wheats because I like them, like that with the voice.
Yeah, kinda.
No,
I just remember that there was a guy who had like a frosted side and he had like a nutritious side,
sure,
and he was like a Jekyll and Hyde thing going on.
And now, like, good luck even trying to afford Frosted Mini Wheats. It's like $8 for a box.
Oh, I saw on social media. I saw you, Stu, like what you bought your groceries.
Yes.
It was like I don't know, Doritos and Joe Louis and whatever.
Sure.
Like what's like that? Last time you were here, we had a lot of catching up to do, but you were like working out a lot.
Still doing it.
But you're just like complimenting your workout with like junk food.
It's yin and yang, Mike. You know, you can't have yin without, you need balance. You know, so for every workout you do, you afford yourself the right to eat a bag of ketchup chips or a peach Snapple iced tea.
Okay, so, but you're still working out?
I'm still exercising. I guess it doesn't show, but I am. You know, my voice has gone a little deeper from all of the...
I would say I haven't really checked you out because
check me out, man.
You look trim. Like your body fat is near zero.
I wouldn't say near zero, but it's definitely like, you know, I look like a guy that like rides the bike.
What? You're now right between me and Cam, okay?
I'll take it.
Because you'll never get to Cam level of like fat freeness,
lankiness. I want to say this. First of all, I saw Cam, but we could talk about that in a minute.
We got lots to talk about.
But listen, if you're out there and you're listening to the sound of my voice and Mike's voice, and you are someone who is like I was and still am, and not, you know, the idea of going and working out and exercising just sounds like a drag, man. You know, you all it takes is just getting up off the couch and trying it that one time. And once you earn that first bit of sweat, you're going to get hooked on it like phonics. You're going to want to do it. So that's just my advice.
What are you doing exactly? Like, give us a little taste.
Not much has changed since I initially told you my routine.
How long has it been since you were here?
It's
You know.
I was here, I think, in the summer, at the end of the summer.
All right. Okay.
So it's been a couple months, but yeah. So I spend about 35 minutes on a treadmill, which is a controversial device because some people say that it's a waste of time, others don't.
Who says that?
Some people do. You know, you go
I don't
online.
know these people.
But you know, I'm on there, and I've learned
time.
from my wrestling buddies
Yeah.
that, like, you know, the trick is not necessarily the running. The trick is to have an incline and to walk.
Right.
So I spend
Right.
about 35 minutes of that. 15 of those 35 minutes are spent at the maximum incline. And I've got music on, and I'm just doing my thing, listening to Toronto Mike, etc.
Well, you do look so trim. Do you want to lift up your shirt or
Not right now. Well, that's a paywall.
That's for the photo.
That's a paywall.
For your OnlyFans. account.
Yes. So I do that. But I'll tell you what, when you're doing a treadmill, and I'm sure for you, you're a cyclist, Mike. I'm assuming you're still doing
I
that.
bike today. Yeah.
You know, there's a thing that we have as human beings where we're chasing distance. You know, we want to say, oh, I rode 3 kilometers or 5, in your case, 20 kilometers or whatever it is.
Yeah, I did 26 today.
26 kilometers, and you feel so great.
Yeah.
And on the treadmill, it's the same sort of mentality where you're like chasing that number.
Right.
You're like, oh, I
You
want to run.
gamified it.
You want to run 3 kilometers.
Right.
But I'm here to tell you that is just, you don't need to chase that number.
Okay.
It's the sweat that you need to chase. I would rather, even though I do chase, I do.
But
I'm
do
saying
you
for
track it all and have targets?
I know what I want to hit.
Right. Okay.
But I'm saying that I don't have to hit that. And you don't, it seems like a daunting task. Whoever would have thought that Stu Stone would be a health advocate like this?
I love this Stu Stone.
But you don't have to feel intimidated by, oh, I need to run 5 miles or 5 kilometers.
Right.
You could do, I would rather you do 1.5 kilometers
Better
and work
than
up a
nothing.
sweat and get a heart rate
Right.
of 120
Right.
than do anything.
right.
So
And that's a good place to start. Go
Great place to start.
Go around the block. Let's start there.
I also, when I get off the treadmill, I do
Yeah.
push-ups, which I'm now doing 60
Shout
a
out
day.
to Peter Gross. Okay.
I also am doing some planks.
how many push-ups are you doing a day?
I do 60 push-ups.
Okay, because Peter told me yesterday. Peter Gross phoned me to say, Mike, I'm now up to 100 a day.
I was doing 100 about a month ago, but my shoulders started hurting, so I was like, I think I'm just going to stick with 60 because it's like 20,
You're
20,
making-
20.
I'm not doing nearly enough.
And I'm
Okay,
doing
you're
planks.
inspiring me.
I'm doing planks on the left side, the right side, the straight side.
Wow.
Then I'm also doing like a stretch kind of thing.
Wow.
And then I'm doing a little bit of light dumbbells, like just doing like this kind of stuff. But that's it.
Okay.
Nothing intimidating. Nothing intimidating. And I feel good. And I still
Well,
can
you
eat.
actually look amazing.
Thank
Are
you.
you now wearing small size shirts? Like,
You know, I'm getting there. I've always, Mike, you act like I didn't always wear small size shirts, but I appreciate that.
hey, you would hit your head in the ceiling just like anybody else.
I'm so happy to be back here with
I'm
no
so happy you're
agenda.
back. Oh, no agenda. But I do want to shout out because you draw a crowd. You know this, right? When you go somewhere, you draw a crowd. I'm on the live stream right now.
Oh, good.
Moose Grumpy, I'm going to start with her because
I love
she says,
Moose Grumpy.
so many gathered here for Stu, memories of Pandemic Friday days. And
Yes.
this is what it was like on Pandemic Fridays.
It was.
This gathering. So I'm going to shout out a bunch of people who've chimed in, okay? Leslie says, bravo, Stu.
Thank you, Leslie. I
Leslie-
appreciate that. Did you tweet out or X out the link?
Yeah.
So I'll make
Live.torontomike.com.
sure to spread that right now.
Yeah, so I'll just read a few more here.
Okay.
Basement Dweller says it's men's health photo shoot time. So hello to Basement Dweller.
If Basement Dweller has a camera
Get over
and
here.
wants me to go to the basement to take those photos, let me know. That's not a paywall for him.
Okay, you're going to love this, Stu. Andrew Ward says, we fucking love Stu Stone.
Well,
You're so
feelings
loved in this
mutual.
community.
I'm
and
loved.
Ian Service, as you know, you call him Tim,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
He's impressed with the number 60. He goes, 60, exclamation mark.
That's big.
It's a, I mean,
And you want to
I'm
know
good.
what? I want to tell Tim something, okay?
Yeah,
Because
okay.
I know that he really pays
Okay,
attention.
one more though. Hey Ref says, great to hear Stu back on Toronto Mike.
Thank you. Thank you, Hey Ref. It's great to be back. I'd like to do it more often. Here's the thing with the 60 push-ups.
Yeah.
The first day that I worked out, I did 1 push-up.
Right.
The
You gotta
next
start
day I
there.
did 2 push-ups, then 3, then the 4. Then by day 50, I was doing 50.
Right.
This
is how it works.
Once you hit, then I got to 100,
Yeah.
and I felt like, I'm overdoing it. Like I'm not Herschel Walker
But
over
you don't
here.
want-
I mean, beliefs aside.
That's a great reference because he never lifted a weight. He
Yeah,
said.
he did like 1,000
And
sit-ups and push-ups.
He was so cut.
Yes.
Right. Good, great reference. Hey, I want to just shout out Canada Kev.
Yes.
Yo, Stu.
What's up, Kev?
Smoke him if you got him. That's me talking. Not,
And I
not
was
Canada.
telling Mike, am I allowed to say the joke that I said to you when I pulled
Only
up
after
here?
I just shout out VP of Sales who says they're not booing, they're saying
Stewardness. Twins.
And Al says it's very dramatic lighting. He seems,
It is.
which is what I'm feeling
I
here.
still need to go on Al's podcast, and I'm assuming that Al's going to have better lighting.
For sure. I do have a question from Al, but what were you about to say before I rudely interrupted
Oh, I was
you?
going to make the joke. Like, like the name of your street, is that confidential?
Oh yeah, don't say the name of the street.
then forget
that's too just this new Toronto. Okay.
Not worth it.
I'll fix it in post.
Fix it in
Don't worry,
post,
I'll
as they
fix that.
say.
I'll fix that in post.
All right.
Okay. So can I off the top get some questions out of the way, and then I have some stuff I want to chat about. But
Sounds good.
okay.
I have some questions as well. Should I start with mine?
Can I do one and then you do one? And
Why don't we go?
Forth?
We'll ping pong.
Right. I love it. So Lieve Fumka wrote this when I
Lieve
announced you
Fumka.
were coming back, and says, in this, I think the tongue was in her cheek, but I'm going to read it as she wrote it.
Okay.
So he thinks he can jump into and out of our hearts just like that. So you do, at least in Lieve Fumka's opinion, is you're here. And then you disappear for long periods of time, and we don't hear anything from Stu Stone. I'm talking about in the Toronto Mike universe, okay? So then you come back, and I think she's wondering why not more consistent presence.
Let's leave a Famke. You and Juan, I hope you're listening. You could blame Mike. If Mike doesn't go on that camping trip 2 years ago or whenever that
we
was,
did 76 in a row.
If Mike doesn't go camping, then I'm a creature of habit. I like routine.
Okay.
He broke the routine. And now this is what we get. This fragmented relationship. But you know what? There's still so much love. You guys also moved off of Twitter to WhatsApp, which is...
group is there.
I need to wrap my head around that whole thing.
But Twitter's a bit of a tire fire.
It sure is.
We had to get out of there.
But
Too much anti-Semitism for my liking.
I'm happy you said it. Now, I'll say that I do wish to be here more often. And me and Mike, we do communicate. And obviously I love this place.
You're here right now, and I'm happy to see you. But on that note, so you were scheduled. Now, I want to ask what happened here, because I promoted TMLX 14, which was at Palma's Kitchen.
Sure.
We all had delicious Palma pasta.
How was it?
It was a great event, although I think I was a little sick, and I think Cam was sick. So, I mean, it turned out fine, but I don't think it was our best effort because we were both under the weather, actually, for TMLX 14. So maybe it's good you weren't there. But
was Wilner there?
Wilner was not there.
Because he likes that free pasta.
But you know who was there? He was. Stephen Brunt was there.
Wow.
And we opened with him. And this is the day after Otani's Phantom Flight.
What a bunch of BS that was, right?
What did you think of that before I ask you the big question about TMLX 14?
I would say that I feel real bad for Ross Atkins because I feel like he was. I don't think that Otani was ever going to sign with the Blue Jays. I think this was all just.
But they did fan the Flames a bit, right? Like I feel like Rogers fanned the Flames a bit. They literally broke into a special Barker and Blair baseball show that afternoon on the Friday.
Same thing happened with Kawhi. I mean, this is Toronto sports media. That's what happens here, and you should know better than anybody. You have the.
But we didn't know. Yeah, okay.
You cover this
what
stuff,
were you going to
Mike.
say there? I do cover this stuff, but the Otani, I feel like I don't feel that sorry for Mr. Atkins. That's all I'm going to say. But we can differ on that one. But I do. I'm not. Oh, it looks good on whatever. But I think that maybe Rogers benefited from that 24 hours of mayhem and curiosity.
Possibly, but
how many seasons tickets were sold during that period of time?
I'll say this. I think that Ross knows more than I do and knows more than you do. And
I hope so.
I think he does.
I
think that he has, the Blue Jays bats got cold at the wrong time. They were pretty much cold all last season, but they specifically got cold at the wrong time against the Twins. And the year prior, they were winning 7-1 and a collision in the outfield happened.
Right.
Last year, he improved the defense to make the Blue Jays the top defensive team in baseball.
He traded offense for defense.
Right. And then our pitching staff, 1 through 5, even with Alek Manoah having an off year last year, and here we are talking sports,
off year.
Still ranked as in the top percentile for pitching across the board.
Sure.
This year we have even better pitching. He improved the defense in a lot of ways. Of course, we did lose Matt Chapman, but we did bring back Kiermaier and IKF and all these sort of buy low type of guys known for their glove.
Yeah.
I believe that Ross knows what he's doing.
But can I ask you about something that happened in the playoffs last season, which is Barrios pitching a gem, pulled.
I was watching just like you were and just like Ross was.
But
they had a game plan. Do you have any
insight into who made that call?
They had a game plan going into that game.
Right.
It's what?
It was written in blood, apparently.
Now that's the problem here because the whole style of baseball across the universe, not just in the Blue Jays dugout, has been to not go with the gut and to go with what the analytics say.
Right.
And the analytics spit out that game plan. And that's not Ross giving them a game plan. That's them having a game plan.
Right.
Okay?
Well, it could be from Ross. I mean, he is the GM.
Barrios was throwing a gem.
All right.
This is his former team. They know him very well. So they felt like they wanted to put him through the lineup only
So we're
once.
better with Kikuchi on the mound at that point.
Well, Kikuchi was having a pretty good season up to that point. But yeah, listen, the Jays need to score more than 2 runs. They need to score 1 run, 2 runs, 3 runs. They didn't lose the game 7-0, Mike.
What happened to Kikuchi's reservation for 50 they were going to have? Was it a Japanese restaurant, sushi or something?
See, now I feel like Leva Famke made up that rumor, and that's how that got out.
All right, I got to get back to the TMLX.
Anyway,
14.
Blue Jays are going to do great this year. I feel so.
But do you think this is a better team than it was a year ago?
Would you rather spend $700 million
It's not my money.
on Ohtani, or would you rather extend Bo and Vlad and take a crack at Juan Soto next year?
I would rather consider the fact this money belongs to Rogers, and I would spend all of it on all of them.
Well, just knowing that they won't do that.
Well, we'll see. We'll see, Stu.
Go Blue Jays.
Go Blue Jays. I'm with you on that one. Okay, so TMLX 14 was promoted. I heavily promoted it as a reunion of the pandemic duo.
Yes.
Cam Gordon, Stu Stone, locked in to be there. We were going to record together and have the 4th mic open for people to come up and say hi. Why were you unable to make TMLX 14?
Well, you know, because I told you.
I know everything, sure.
But our film, Faking a Murderer, which is an older film already at this point, was selected to be a part of the Los Angeles Comedy Festival in Los Angeles. And that date conflicted with the date of your recording. So I couldn't be in 2 places at the same time, Mike.
I thought you were going to make something with Michael Rappaport.
I was working with Michael Rappaport, but Michael Rappaport has paused all of his career endeavors to take up for his causes that he's backing clearly every day. But this was for the film festival, and we ended up having a great screening there, and it went very well. And it's funny because the movie was supposed to be playing during the film festival during COVID. They canceled the film festival that year, so it was just as big a surprise to me as you to get a call that, the festival's back this year for the first time since COVID, and we want to put your movie in the headlining spot.
So obviously, no offense taken. Not that I should take any offense to that, but you had to go. Basically, your professional pursuits took you to California, right?
They did, yes.
So you can't be at TMLX 14 in Mississauga if you're in California.
But I wanted to be at TMLX.
Although Taylor Swift would have been at both.
She has a jet.
She has a jet, right?
I'm still with Harold Hussein in the chopper.
Don't forget your galoshes. Okay, he's been. He's been here, right? Okay, I feel like if you say Harold Hossein, I need to let you know he's been in the basement. Okay, so did you want to ask me a question? Because I got one from Leslie here.
Okay, I'll go next. I see that your desk here, I don't know if that's on camera here, but your desk to the side here has become somewhat of a Toronto Mike Hall of Fame over here.
It organically became this way, yes. Maybe you should take a photo and tweet it out.
I will. You have all sorts of merchandise and stuff, and I'm seeing like really cool, like the Mike Cube from CJCL. That wasn't here previously.
No, we just did episode 1430.
That's brilliant.
Scott Metcalf gave me this, and then he also gave me, he wanted to show me how much bigger the mic flash was when they switched from CJCL 1430 to Fan 1430, and there you see the big difference.
That's like Retro Ontario would pay big money for those.
These are the real deals. They're not making these anymore, right, Stu?
Like Ed would want those.
Ed knows how to reach me if he wants to make a bid here, absolutely. But it came from Scott Metcalf,
that's really cool. Yeah. You are becoming well,
did you see I have my copy of
that.
Blowing Up?
And I see
Wisebot gave me that.
I can see Wisebot had to have given you that because I can see it's got like the cut in the bottom of the side that implies that
case.
There's no way that he was paying for that CD.
Oh, that's okay.
That means
what does that mean?
That means it's a promo.
Oh, I didn't know.
But if you ever see those in,
okay, good to know.
That's a music business hack.
Okay,
the CDs with the chop in the spine there means that wasn't paid for.
Thank you. Well, Wisebot probably paid for it.
There's no way Wisebot paid for that.
And of course, there's my George the Animal Steel.
Yes, that's a gift from me as well.
Of course.
And also all the Palma Pasta that you haven't given out recently. I did hear some complaints about that, Mike.
Who didn't get Palma Pasta?
I don't want to spill the tea.
I want to know who's saying that. Okay. Who's lying to you? Okay. Leslie says.
Yes.
Cousin Jano, and then puts in parentheses of the cool glasses. And I just want Leslie to know, I know who Cousin Jano is. I've met her multiple times. I met her at the Lowest of the Low documentary premiere. I met her at the 299 Queen Street West documentary. I've met her at a TMLX event. I know cousin Jano. Cousin Jano is a fan of Dark Side of the Ring.
Oh.
She would like to know if Stu has seen Iron Claw, and if so, what he thought of it.
I have not seen Iron Claw yet.
But what is that for
That
us,
is a film
the rest
about
of us?
the Von Erich family,
Okay.
which is a film I should have seen like immediately. It just didn't happen. I will see it, but obviously I know the story. Dark Side of the Ring did an episode on it. I personally went to Hawaii and interviewed Kevin Von Erich and his sons, and spent a lot of time with the Von Erichs. Know the story very well. I will see that movie, and I'm sure that it's
You
a
should
very
see it with Jano.
I should.
Jano.
It's a very depressing subject. Basically, there's only one brother left. But it's if you imagine, the Hart family, the story of the Hart family. There's like 20 brothers and sisters. That kind of thing. This family, the Von Erichs, all the brothers were part of wrestling.
So is it sad because did they take their own life?
Yes,
or-
yes.
Oh,
All of them
yeah.
did. Not just one of them. All of them did.
Okay, it's like the George Chiavello family.
It's pretty
story.
sad stuff.
Okay.
So there is one brother that's remaining, Kevin, who's a great guy. And so, yeah, I know the story very well, intimately, and I know the participants very well. And I just know that that's a movie that is going to be a heavy watch.
I have a question now. I'm going to piggyback on Leslie's excellent question. My question for you, Stu Stone, is what happens...
Sorry. Dark Side of the Ring, there's a new season coming.
Well, this is going to tie into my question.
Okay, good.
So what happens to... This is me talking. What happens to Dark Side of the Ring now that Vice has shut down its website? It's purging employees. Like, hundreds of Vice employees are getting pink-slipped right now, sadly. And does this have any effect on the excellent Dark Side of the Ring?
It does not have any effect on Dark Side of the Ring.
Good news for you.
It is. The station Vice Land is not the same as Vice, the news organization.
Okay.
So one is not the same as the other. That the Vice Land, which is the studio that does our show, is still very much operational. And
Because they're aired on their partner sites or whatever. So
they have deals all over the place,
Right.
and it's probably profitable, that sector, which was probably smart of them to like break it off.
And remind people, like, what exactly would you say you do for Dark Side of the Ring?
Well, I'm one of the producers of the show, but I would say that it's like more of a producer-director sort of role where I'm going out in the field doing all the documentary. I have me and a team of 2 other guys, Dan, Nick, sometimes
I hear
Chet.
your voice sometimes. Like,
You hear
I'll
it all
you
the
ask
time.
The question.
That's because I don't shut up. But yeah, I'm doing all the interviews for the I do all the documentary stuff, and then they shoot recrees with another team. Sometimes some of the same guys are doing it both, but there's
I just checked in. Periodically, I'll pop into live.torontomike.com and see if there's anything like burning there. And it's funny because Mark Weisblad is there right now. So hello
good,
to
so
Mark.
he knows.
But he says, I rescued a Stu Stone CD from a landfill, and this is the thanks I get.
You see, there's no way he paid for that CD. That was my point. Like, this guy comes to my movie and goes for a walk. So there's not a chance that he paid for that. But I do appreciate him saving that. And the fact that he owned that, first of all, shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. The Pickle Barrel that Mark and I were going to have our summit at shut down. It no longer exists.
Right.
So, he and I should spill out some Manischewitz for that.
So that never
to begin with.
happened. Like,
It did not happen.
That's been in the works for years.
It's been in the works for years. It's very hard to tie him down. Basement Dweller has tried, believe me. He's a hard guy to press. But Mark and I, we will get together, and we will hug it out and thug it out, and we will probably cry out a couple of tears of salty matzo ball broth that the Pickle Barrel at Leslie in Thornhill area is no longer...
Named after our own Leslie,
Yes.
who's in the live chat. Okay. Now, only because we're talking about blowing up, and we should point out that your font size is smaller than Jamie Kennedy's. I
Yes.
guess that's the way it has to be. Jamie was the bigger name, right?
That wasn't my choice to do that, obviously, but that's the way that the cookie crumbles sometimes. But you'll see when you look at the credits of inside.
Yeah.
There's lots of my name on the writing and producing of the record, where Jamie's isn't. So,
Right. Well, he was a more famous person, and that fame is
I don't really care about that. Listen, the album we put up Sloan numbers.
well bigger than Sloan, right? I remember this chatter. You said 300,000 units,
listen,
right?
we did what we did. Yeah.
Just a little bit, because I go back to this song all the time. I think this is a fantastic.
I wouldn't say that it's like a masterpiece of any kind, but it's definitely I could see this song having some sort of like a TikTok resurgence if somebody ever like dusted it off. Seems like ripe for like the new generation to do like TikTok dancing to this type of song. So maybe it'll happen. I don't know. Did you ever see
The Lego
there's
video?
a Lego, so there's
Of course.
did you ever see the Wham video?
No, I don't remember the Wham one. I remember the Lego one.
Okay, so here's some inside baseball, and I'm sure we've talked about this before, but listen, let's just talk about it again.
Greatest hits.
So we did a music video for Circle Circle Dot Dot, this song that you're listening to right now, and the idea that I pitched to the label was for us to do a recreation, shot-for-shot recreation of the Wham! Wake Me Up Before You Go Go video, which Jamie loved the idea. And so we went and we literally shot a shot-for-shot.
Oh, you know what? I have seen this.
Yeah, you've seen it.
Yes, I've seen it. Yeah.
Of the Wham! Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. We were ready to launch it. And then a week before the video was supposed to release, this Lego video shows up on YouTube from a contest we were running.
Right.
And it got like 2-3 million views on YouTube. There was only 500,000 users on YouTube at that point.
Right.
This was explosive to the point where the record label shelved the Wake Me Up Before You Go Go video, and the Lego video became the video. Isn't that funny?
I do remember you telling me the story, and it's a great story.
The Wake Me Up Before You Go Go video is on YouTube.
Right.
But it's like a hidden gem. People don't know about it,
you
but
gotta
it's
find
really
it.
brilliant. Like, it literally is exactly the video for Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. Jamie is George Michael. I'm Andrew Ridgely. We've got the wardrobe changes, the dances, the t-shirts, the whole thing. Anyway.
Well done. Did you see the Wham documentary?
I did.
It was good, right?
I did, yeah.
liked it.
Pretty good, yeah. Pretty good.
Dug it. So I will just let people know, because I always assume, it's the regular cast, but there are new listeners who are like, who's this guy?
Okay.
So those people should go to the very first... There's a tab at the top of TorontoMike.com where it says notable guests or something. Go there, or guests, I don't know what I called it, but go there and find the first appearance by Stu Stone, and we walk through, because Stu is a guy, we can't just cover everything again, we can't do it again, because you've got the child acting career, which we'll touch on, where you were like a child acting superstar, and then you grow up and you're in Donnie Darko. I know you want to chime in, except I'll run through it real quick to say you've got the music career, which we're listening to now. There's a lot of great music you made, particularly with Jamie Kennedy, but not without him too. And then you've got there's a whole wrestling thing where you're like a manager for wrestling. And now
you make me
in
sound like a crazy person.
Oh, you sound amazing to me. And now you're this guy who directs movies, and we'll touch on that obviously in a moment when I get through these questions. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to make a joke that was off color, so I'm happy that you didn't allow it.
I could fix that in post. Okay, so Gilles LeBlanc writes in.
Oh.
A couple of questions came in about somebody associated with WWE, which I used to know as the WWF, but Gilles LeBlanc says, will the Vince McMahon Netflix documentary ever see the light of day?
I heard that it will, and you would imagine that the documentary filmmakers of that movie probably can't believe what has happened with Vince McMahon in the last year. If they were rolling cameras, I mean, for wrestling fans, they could relate to the Wrestling with Shadows. Did you ever see that movie? Wrestling with Shadows. It was a documentary about Bret Hart.
Yeah.
And his whole WWF career came apart while they
the
were filming the
Montreal
Yeah.
Snow Job? What was that called?
This is Montreal Snow Job, exactly. Right. They had the Snow Job on the Screw Job, Mike. The Screw Job. Come on.
You know
now.
what? I'm thinking of Much Music had the
Yes.
Snow Jobs. Shout out to David Kynes.
But yes, definitely. Shout out to him always.
We'll get back to him.
Now I've lost my train of thought.
Oh, you're thinking of David Kynes, and you're thinking of your next deal over there.
Yes, which I have in place.
Well, we're going to talk about that soon once we get.
What the hell was I just saying?
You said, have you seen that documentary with?
Oh, right. So the
Bret the Hitman Hart, the only wrestler to appear on The Simpsons.
That's probably true. My point is that those filmmakers got so lucky. Now you've got these, and I wouldn't call this lucky. These circumstances are obviously horrific.
And to quote Canada Kev on the live stream, Vince McMahon is absolute scum. I've read these accounts. This is horrific.
Listen.
What? No judgment there?
No, there's judgment there for sure. There's definitely judgment there. But I will say this. It's not against the law to be kinky, Mike. You know that. It is against the law to do things that against people's will. And if that is the case, and that's what Vince McMahon has done and participated in.
I think it's the power imbalance.
Yeah, that's not
fucks
cool.
With the kinkiness there. But,
yeah, I agree. That is not cool. That is not cool. And obviously, this is not new. This is not new news. And people, it's crazy that if these guys would just, and I don't want to sound crass, Mike, but think about all these older guys that we looked up to. Some of us looked up to
Bill
them more than
Cosby?
others. If they would have just kept their you-know-what in their pants and late in their life. Vince is 77, 78 years old. He managed to get away with all of this stuff. Just, you still need to do this stuff. It's, Bill Cosby.
Right. Now, Bill Cosby, of course, he would drug these women. This was a rape.
Right.
But okay, so
Even Donald
these
Trump,
are terrible
even Donald
people.
Trump.
Right.
It's like he was with this hush money thing that he's going through right now. That whole thing could be avoided if he just didn't,
Yeah, stick to adult consensual sex.
Well, it's also like the sexual acts in general. Like if you're 70, in your late 70s, early 80s, and you're still sexually active like that, I don't know whether to say God bless you or to say like God help you. Like,
okay, but if there's no power imbalance and you're not, there's some fucked up shit I was reading about with what Vince McMahon was doing there. But if you're just you have a girlfriend and you have consensual, kinky sex and you're in your late 70s,
God
good
bless
on you.
Sure,
Yes,
sure.
Maybe there's a blue pill involved, maybe
Yes.
not. But that's living your best life. And
but it's not living your best life when it's done in like this dark sort of like.
Well, not
you're
what
saying.
Vince did.
No, exactly, and the details are absolutely disgusting. I don't know. I don't know what to even make of it. Will there be an episode on that? I'm sure if we go like season 8
Andrew
or 9.
Ward's question is, can you ask Stu if he thinks the current travails of Vince McMahon will merit an episode of Dark Side of the Ring?
It definitely would merit
You've got to be
one.
working on that now. This is the darkest side of the ring.
Well, I don't know if they're going to do one or not.
Wink at me if you know.
I don't. We've already shot season 5 and we didn't do a Vince McMahon episode.
When does season 5 hit?
It starts next month. It starts airing. So we've already done 10 episodes.
And tell the Canadians listening where they can actually see.
They can watch it on TSN and Crave in Canada.
Absolutely.
And in the United States of the Americas, you can watch it.
Are they listening?
Sometimes. You got that guy from Buffalo sometimes.
Oh, that's true. There's a bit of a Buffalo.
The WUTV crowd.
Well, Buffalo Boy came to TMLX 14. He drove from Buffalo to attend TMLX 14. And he's a big fan because he got radio from Toronto and he loved the CFNY episode.
Listen,
at
the end of the day, this just to close the book on this Vince McMahon topic, obviously the allegations and the details in the lawsuit are absolutely disgusting. Okay? We all agree on that. It's tough for people who are such big fans of wrestling or big fans of Bill Cosby or big fans of anybody to separate the guy that they admire from the acts that they did. It's not that hard for me. I think that it's if he did these things, which it looks like he did do these things, gross, awful, despicable.
You're going to need
deplorable.
a whole season of Dark Side
Yeah.
of the Ring to cover this
Yeah.
gentleman.
Yeah. And that's coming from a guy that like literally, if you look in the liner notes of the Blowing Up album, I thank Vince McMahon.
Because of the wrestling album.
Yeah.
He's all over that wrestling album. Fucking me too. I've listened to
I'm
a lot
just
of...
very disappointed, and I think
Still
like
listen to
all
the
of
rest of
our,
them.
I think that's part of like, maybe it contributes to some of the depression that our generation feels, that all of our heroes have let us down in some way or another. The childhood heroes from the 70s, 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Look at
O.J. Simpson runs 2,000 yards in a season,
Yeah.
and then he kills a couple of people.
We have been let down by our heroes over and over and over again. So are there any real heroes left? The heroes that we have right now, 20 years from now, are we going to find out that they actually did like some fucked up shit?
What do you know about Tom Hanks? Anything there I need to know about?
I don't know anything about Tom Hanks, but I know that like conspiracy theorists like seem to think that he's like, he invented COVID or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was early adopter.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like
I know exactly what you're saying.
everybody's a human being who has skeletons. And so is there somebody that doesn't have any that involve like
Jimmy Carter.
defecating on people like the Vince allegations?
Right. And again, consensual adult defecation on each other.
I don't judge what you and Monica do.
No judgment there. This is a different situation. And if you want to read up on it, you can. But it will be a whole season of Dark Side of the Ring because it gets awfully fucking
you
dark.
got OJ, you got Bill Cosby, you got Hulk Hogan, who managed to come back from his scandal. You got OJ, you mentioned already, Elmo, Michael Jackson, R. Kelly.
Oh, R. Kelly.
Miramax Films, Harvey Weinstein.
Right. White. Right.
Vince now.
Right.
That's a pretty big laundry list of guys right there.
Oh, wow. Okay. Speaking of guys, basement dweller. That's
Oh,
quite
yeah.
a segue. Legit question for Stu Stone. Does he know what orgies are yet? Okay, so just so you know, did I tell you that
Cynthia Dale.
Cynthia Dale was in the basement?
Yes.
So the first time we chatted was via Zoom, and then she actually visited, and I replayed that clip, which I don't know if she loves hearing that clip, but we absolutely talked about
She's
you
got to
in that
stop
clip.
it. She's got to embrace it.
That's what I said. Lean in, right?
She is married.
Heavenly Bodies is the name of this movie.
She's still married, right?
Yeah, this is the thing. So she doesn't do what a lot of people do where they will reference warmly their spouse. Like I noticed an absence of like warm references to her.
It's like Heavenly Bodies too. Same thing.
Okay. Because I have no knowledge of anything. Like for all I know, they're still as happily in love as they ever were. It's just I noticed that we talk enough. That I noticed not mentioning the husband.
Stratford's second most famous resident.
After Ron Sexsmith.
Or Justin Bieber. But, tomato.
Right, I forgot about bees. Okay, I was Ron fucking Sexsmith. Ron Sexsmith and Jason Bieber. The difference is marketing, right? The difference is marketing. Come on, both great, talented singer-songwriters. So where was I? So Cynthia Dale came in. So I don't know if your ears were burning, but we played the orgies clip. And for those who don't know, you got to go back to that first episode of Toronto Mic'd. But absolutely, there's a movie called Heavenly Bodies, and it starred Cynthia Dale. And the child of Cynthia Dale was my very own friend, FOTM Hall of Famer Stu Stone.
Yes, my first movie role. It was an exciting film to be a part of, and it's looked back fondly after all these years. You have a lot of 80s movies that did not age well. Revenge of the Nerds, Porky's. These are movies that you thought were classics that you can't even turn on now. It's like really, they do not age well. And I would say that Heavenly Bodies aged like in reverse. Like the way that it was accepted when it came out was like, and now you watch it and there's this like, oh, I miss this era. And this takes me into that 20-minute workout era where life was just all about simple plot lines, like an exercise studio competing against another one in a dance-off.
I know exactly, Stu. I know exactly what you mean about these movies that did not age well. And here's a big thing I remember from the 80s that we sort of enjoyed in our 80s movies, etc. But looking back now, it's like, oh my God. But the big thing I remember is, for example, Revenge of the Nerds.
Yes.
Okay. The hidden camera to watch women change.
I forgot about that.
Huge plot point, a massive plot point. And there were other movies of that ilk that did similar things. I want to say Porky's had something like this,
But what
right?
about also, Porky's they spied through the thing.
Right.
But what about in Revenge of the Nerds when...
Right. Having sex with the mask on to think it's someone else. So those good point.
Like
right?
Vince McMahon would not be able to do that.
Right. But the whole, I'm going to hide a camera in the dorm room so we can all watch these young ladies naked who don't know they're being watched, right? Like that was absolutely something that we thought, I loved that fucking scene in the 80s. Like it's no wonder we're all fucked up, right? We were raised on that. We were watching City TV late great movies. In fact, only because I have just said his name, I'm now obligated to play this.
The following program contains adult themes, nudity, and coarse language. Viewer and parental discretion is advised.
That should have been played before this episode. The voice of the world.
The voice. Absolutely. So in the Porky's plot about them all going and watching these women in the shower.
Well, also the racist language that is used in Porky's in the first 10 minutes is like enough to make you blush. But I'll tell you what, it's amazing, Mike, because you are a mensch, and Weisblatt knows that as well. It's amazing that some people do consider me a mensch. There's no accounting for taste there, Mike. But how did we overcome all of that? Like we were raised with this type of stuff was the stuff that motivated us, that inspired us, that we were high-fiving over. And here we are as adults that somehow managed to escape the annals of that swimming pool.
The nerd who put on the mask and had sex with the cheerleader, and the cheerleader thought it was her boyfriend, didn't know it was this nerd guy.
It was Stan Gable's girlfriend.
That's right.
Who was Jefferson Darcy, and also he was on Happy Days.
They called him like poison to your series because there was a bunch of series that kind of jumped the shark when he shows up.
Yes.
Right. So you're right. That's right. You good call there, back. Well done, Stu. This is why I like you as a guest. But after, if I remember now, and I haven't seen it in a long
Betty,
time,
if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's Betty too.
Yeah.
But at the end, Betty was really pleased because she got better sex than she normally has because the nerd explains that like, jocks have other things going on. They're worried about football games and stuff like that. Meanwhile, nerds, all they think about is sex, so they're better lovers. And she was really pleased with this performance from the guy pretending to be her boyfriend that just had, I don't know if a condom was involved or not, but I can tell you any way you slice this scene, that's fucking rape.
Yeah, it's not. It's no.
Betty was raped.
It's no laughing matter. I like I said, it's like I'm at a loss for words, and it's not the only movies that are like that. These are just the ones that come to mind.
We're just thinking off the top of our head.
But if you even think about other plot premises, and we may have covered this in the past, but what about the fact that there's another very popular movie that we love where a werewolf has sex with a girl and it's all good?
Is that Teen Wolf?
Yes, and like a werewolf is allowed to play basketball, like, and nobody bats an eye at it.
There's no one bats an eye on it, right? And that's what I remember because Chubbs is in that, right? Shoot it, fat boy.
Yeah, and I love Teen Wolf. I've probably seen that movie like 200 times.
Give me a keg of beer.
Yeah, so it's just like that's just the way that it was.
Right.
That was the world that we lived in.
She had sex with a werewolf, right? And there's no rule book that says it has to be a human on the court. This is like when dogs play in movies. Like, we can't find anything in the rule book that says we can't have dogs.
Well, how
about
Ladybugs? You remember that movie where Rodney Dangerfield had...
I don't know, but I got a lot of balls.
Hey, Martha, get in the game. We got a game. Oh, boy, I got a lot of balls. But anyway, I believe, is that the late, great Jonathan Brandis playing that role?
Oh, but yeah, I think so.
But he's got a wig and he pretends to be a girl.
Right.
And now look, these are, you wouldn't see these movies made again, and that's probably a good thing.
Right. Okay, now Al Grego has a question for you.
I can't believe we just did Rodney Dangerfield impressions on this show.
I don't know.
It only took me...
I got a lot of balls.
It took me like 200 visits here before we... Boy, I got a lot of balls.
You're getting close to 100. I think this is 91.
I take my wife. Oh, she finds her way home.
Hey, when I was born, the doctors...
Dr. Slap, my mom.
In a moment, I'm going to pick up that thread there and talk about your mom. But first, Al Grego has a question. Question for Stu.
I love all these questions.
Yeah, they came in. Has he seen the show Heels?
Yeah.
I really hope they find a new home. It was a really good show.
Heels is a wrestling show that was on the Starz Network in the United States. And a good buddy of mine, Luke Hawks, is a wrestler that is part of that production. I don't think they're going to find another home for that, sadly. But it's amazing how many different, in the last decade, how many different sort of wrestling shows popped up. You got
Glow.
Glow and Heels and Dark Side of the Ring, and now the Von Erichs movie, and the Vince McMahon thing's going to come out soon. And A&E has like a whole wrestling night where they have bios and this and that and the other thing. And WWE just is hotter than ever, Mike. They just merged with UFC. They have a new company, TKO. I'm sure you're familiar with it. Ari Emanuel, the great Ari Emanuel, who the character Ari Gold is based off of in Entourage. The real Ari Emanuel now owns, or he's sitting on top of the mountain of UFC and WWE. And boy, it is a fascinating time to be a wrestling fan.
I mentioned Chubbs. Shoot it, fat boy.
Yeah.
Terrible shot, but it went in the net. Okay.
Also, is he not Francis?
Correct. So he had a trifecta. Early days of TorontoMike.com, the blog, I was writing about the trifecta of this actor whose name is Mark Holton, I want to say. Like in my mind, you can see I didn't Google anything, and anyone said it on the live chat. I think it's Mark Holton. So not only was he Francis in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which was an epic role in a movie we loved, but he was Chubbs in Teen Wolf, but he was also the guy...
He was on Herman's Head.
That I will take your word for, but I can tell you he was in The Naked Gun.
Oh.
As the guy, I think, isn't he the guy who says...
No, Frank, Weird Al Yankovic is on that flight.
I love The Naked Gun. Might be the most I've ever laughed. But he's the guy who points and goes, "It's Enrico Palazzo."
Yeah, he does do that.
Oh, you know who's on the live stream?
Who?
Cable Guy Jeff.
Oh, he knows.
He does know. He fucking
By the way,
does know.
Going back to Teen Wolf for a second, did you ever see Teen Wolf as well? Teen Wolf TOO, Teen Wolf 2?
With Jason Bateman?
Yeah, and he's like
I think I saw one. Boxer?
Like a werewolf is allowed to box teenagers.
I can tell you this. I think it was a free Teen Wolf, which I saw in theaters, actually, at the now gone Humber Odeon, which was at Jane and Bloor. I saw it there. But Teen Wolf, I believe it aired during like a free preview of like First Choice Super Channel, and we recorded it to VHS. So I think I've seen Teen Wolf like 100 times.
Yeah, same here. When we used to tape movies.
Yeah.
And that would be
and
one.
you'd watch them over, yes.
And it's no... being in now a filmmaker, and me and Adam have 5'7" productions,
get
5'7"
there, yeah.
films, but doing a kids show for CBC a few years ago that we produced
with Mike Wilner.
Yes, but you realize that there isn't a need to do multiple seasons of that show, because just as we watch Teen Wolf 100 times,
Right.
kids will watch the same thing over and over again, which explains why My Pet Monster,
Right.
the cartoon that was my very first cartoon show,
Right.
we only did 13 episodes, and the same 13 episodes aired for 20 plus years.
Wild. Isn't that wild?
Because kids will just watch.
Kids are
They'll
stupid.
watch Frozen 200 times. They don't care. Nothing's changed on that front.
You're 100% right there. I got to say hi to Jeremy Hopkin.
Yes. Why not?
Why not? Because he says, he makes a good point here. First, he was a bit late to the live stream, and hello, nice to see you there, Jeremy. But he makes a nice point. He says, we were talking about how did we get out of the 80s with all that shit we were exposed to. And he says, where is it here? It's hold on, this screen does jump a bit here. Oh, actually, Canada Kev says, come on, Mike, get a grip here. Canada Kev says we had Sue Johansson to balance things out. So he says that helped balance things out, having Sue Johansson. And then Jeremy Hopkin chimed in to say that he called Sue Johansson at her retirement residence for a research project that involved her family history. And he got to thank her for the show. I never had the opportunity to have Sue Johansson on Toronto Mike. I wish I had known you, Jeremy, and you could have given me her number. I would have called her at the retirement residence and had a chat with her.
Back then, you could give Sue Johansson a mic and let her go. Do you think that is that show getting... Could a show like that... Yeah, could you do that show now?
Well,
Maybe
think
you have a sassy gal that like talks sex.
They wouldn't look like Sue Johansson today.
No.
Like they would probably, yeah, you're right. It would.
She had such a way with words, Mike. She had such a way with words. She could talk about, people would call in with the most, like, as if they were reading from the Vince McMahon transcript type stuff that they would ask her. And she would have a way to so eloquently sort of reply and offer advice and bring up things that people would blush just saying, that she had such candor that she was able to, so like I said, eloquently talk about the taboo in a way that was, she made it the sweetest taboo. Shout out to the band name, not the person.
I'm glad. Now I feel like I'm on a pandemic Friday. All I need is a tall, skinny guy sitting over there to call you an idiot, and we'll be complete here. Is there any chance, since I brought up the great Cam Gordon, who's also on the FOTM Hall, any chance of a reunion?
100%. I spoke to Cam.
Tell me about your conversation with Cam.
Me and Cam and I got together for those of you who are curious. Cam and I got together, and we went for a coffee. We sat for about an hour and a half. We shot the breeze.
Right.
We love each other, and we want nothing more than to have a reunion with you, Mike. So we will make that happen. And
how come I didn't get an invitation to this coffee summit?
I think that this was like a private
one-on-one. It was a high school reunion.
Yeah, this is
I wasn't at high school.
Private one-on-one. It was a summit of sorts. Weisblot was almost invited to it. Almost. Not even joke. That's a shoot, brother.
Okay, but I have a note from Wiseblood in the live stream.
He says that I didn't.
Says that you didn't reply to his DM.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Because we're all wondering why the summit never happened.
He's got my number.
All right, here we are now. Al Grego. You did answer his question about Heels. Where was Heels airing?
It was on Stars Network in the States, and I believe that would mean Crave in Canada.
Gotta pay. I don't think Crave comes with Stars, does it? Don't you have to pay extra for Stars?
I don't know.
I'm confusing my shit. I don't know. Okay, I have a song to introduce the next question, which comes from yours truly.
Okay.
Let's listen to a little bit of... it's funny, because I think about you all the time when I just revisited The Sopranos, and I would listen to Woke Up This Morning by Alabama 3. And who did you...
Leonard Cohen.
Leonard Cohen.
Oh, come on. Why you got to do this to me?
Because I'm going to ask you about somebody.
Okay.
I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do you? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah,
I mean, if it was ever on your bucket list to hear me sing Hallelujah, you could check that box. This was for my mom. I did this.
This is what I want to know. I want to know how my friend Trudy is doing. How's your mom?
She's doing very well, Mike. She's in Florida right now, escaping the spring temperatures here.
The 10-degree temps.
She's a snowbird now. She's at that stage where she can escape, and she's got a place there. She's with her friends. She golfs. She does some woodworking. She watches Oak Island.
Does she miss you on Toronto Mike? Does she miss Pandemic
I think
Fridays?
she's watching now, if I'm not mistaken. Should I try to call her? I can try to.
Yeah, ask her. YYZ points out Heels is not on the base Crave. You have to pay extra, which is what I thought. Because I have Crave. I like my HBO shows, but I don't have these Stars shows, and I'm not going to cough up another cent for the Stars shows.
Yeah, well, then you won't be able to see it, Mike, because that's where it is.
My loss.
Yeah. I tried to call her, there's no answer.
Al Grego's going to visit me later today. He's literally going to be here after your visit, and I'm going to get him to explain all the stuff that happened in Heels, so I don't have to watch.
That makes it easier for you, Mike.
So is your mom answering?
She didn't answer. Okay. Oh, here she is. She's calling me back.
Okay, I'll bring down Hallelujah.
Oh, that's my sister, actually. But we're looking for Trudy. Is Trudy with you? Oh, Toronto Mike just wanted to say hi to her.
Hi, Trudy. Oh, she can't look. Hi, nice to see you.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm driving.
Yeah, just be safe.
She's got to focus. I don't want to cause any problems.
But she's doing well. All right, safe travels.
She looks good. Tell her she looks good.
Mike says she looks good, and he would, our family, we don't know how to take a compliment, Mike.
It's good to see Trudy.
Yes.
Trudy, I always loved the fact that she would be on the live stream.
Yeah, so that's why she's not on now. She's driving my sister to the airport so my sister can come home.
Are you going to visit your mom in Florida?
I don't think so, Mike.
Because how long have you been back in Canada?
Not very long, Mike. But
you know who does that? Tom Wilson from Junk House, who was also at TMX 14. He'll be, he's a great orator and he'd be telling me stories, but he'll always say, well, let me tell you, Toronto Mike. Like he says Toronto Mike over and over again. So it's like one of the things he does. But
this was not meant as a tribute to him, but you could, but by all means, why not?
So tell me
Mike.
so
I'm here now, clearly, because I'm here now. But I'm working on...
Should we start the show? This is all the pregame show. Should I be recording this?
I hope so. I'm working on post-production, as we call it, Mike.
Let's get to this part. Okay, thank you. This is a good segue. So let me just thank Great Lakes Brewery.
Please.
Literally, the Great Lakes people were here this morning.
The greatest.
The greatest
Lakes Brewery.
They were here this morning because, I see now in the live stream, because there's a delay, so I now see... Trudy on the live stream. Like, what an age we live in. Holy smokes. Okay, so I'm here to tell you that
They're
Great Lakes
listening in
Brewery,
the car.
delicious fresh craft beer. They were here. We recorded another episode of their podcast, Between Two Fermenters.
That's funny.
Yeah, it is funny, and it's a good show, and I got to edit it, but it's going to drop next week. Meanwhile, Palma Pasta. Who told you they didn't get lasagna? Do you want a lasagna?
Sure.
Of course you're going to get a lasagna. Absolutely. One in my freezer for you, Stu Stone. Thank you, Palma Pasta. They're going to feed us at TMLX 15. Are you in Toronto for June 27?
I couldn't tell you, but if I am, I will 100%.
You and Cam come to TMLX 15. It's at Great Lakes Brewery. We'll be fed by Palma Pasta. And, of course, your first beer is on the house. Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home.
Always shouting out them.
I got a measuring tape for you, Stu. This is courtesy of Ridley Funeral Home.
Does it measure in inches by any chance?
Yes, it does. It's got
that's
both
convenient.
Centimeters and inches. Or you can, like when you do your workouts, you can measure your waist.
I was always curious, and I'm just going to eyeball this.
What's going on over there?
Is this centimeters?
Both, right? Isn't it one side centimeters, one side inches?
That's not good.
What's going on there? You measured it?
I'd rather not share the number that was on the inches side. I prefer to measure in centimeters.
Oh, so I produce Humble and Fred show, and
I've heard of them.
This week we had a episode.
I love those guys.
Well, when your movie's coming out, we're going to get to all that stuff in a minute. I'm going to get you back on that show to promote it to the Humble and Fred listeners. But by the way, Ian Service says you better be at TMLX 15 because he's got to give you your hat.
You know what?
What hat is this?
He got WWF, like this vintage hat from the 1986, 85 era.
Is it signed by Vince McMahon?
It's not signed by Vince McMahon, but he did shit on it. So No, but for real though, he's got this hat that I'm very excited to get.
I've seen a picture of this hat,
and I have something to trade with him. Like,
okay, Ian, there's going to be an exchange,
a gift exchange
at TMLX15 if Stu is not like called away to work. I guess if he's not called to the States to work. Do you remember anything of what I was saying before I read the Ian Service thing? Do you remember where I was going? Do you remember anything about what I said? Does anybody know what I said? Can somebody tell me in the live chat? I was going somewhere.
Something about my mom?
No, it wasn't about your mom. Hold on. Let's work on this together.
Toronto Mike. I was saying like Toronto Mike, and then you were like, oh, that's reminds me of like Ron Sexsmith.
I love Ron Sexsmith. That guy's a sweetheart. But it'll come back to me, I'm sure.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. I love that clip here. Penis guy, that's where I was going. So thank you.
What?
Ian helped me out here. Okay.
Penis guy? That's where you were going?
I booked a guy to come on Humble and Fred because Humble and Fred are kind of obsessed with their...
Is it the guy with can I guess?
Yeah.
Is it like Jim Rose, like whatever the guy's name, like the guy who does like the penis capades?
No, it's not him. But it's good. You're right. It has to do with penises. So Humble and Fred are kind of mildly obsessed with the size of their flaccid penis. Like, forget erect penis. Let's put that aside.
Wait, are they saying that they're big or small?
So they think Dan Duran is big when he's flaccid, and Fred is very small.
Yeah, shower, not a grower. That's
sure. Yes, they call it. They call Fred's penis like a cork on a beanbag. All right. So they had a guy on the show.
That's a very specific reference.
He injects your penis with a filler that makes the flaccid. It doesn't do anything for the erect penis. I hope it doesn't fuck with that. You need it. You need it to work when it's erect. But it adds filler to your flaccid penis so it appears bigger. Like this guy's, he makes like I think he charges like $2,500.
Is this FDA approved?
A quarter inch. Yeah. Like they're doing this thing now. They're doing it in Canada. So basically some kind of filler, because I guess people have been getting fillers in their other parts of their body and stuff. Look, I'm all natural, okay, Stu? No filler in me.
Are you?
Okay? Yeah, I'm all natural. Are you still natural?
I'm starting to
Hollywood Stu.
I've been getting filler for a while now.
Where?
In my penis.
In your...
and it's done wonders for my confidence, Mike.
Well, that's it. They said you get big dick energy. So basically, the penis appears bigger when flaccid because it's got this stuff filled up into it.
What are they filling it with?
Something, I don't know. Like
that Pink Panther foam?
Something, yeah. It adds, well, I don't know. Like
it'd be ironic if they filled it with cock.
According to YYZ Gord, who says it adds girth to the erect.
Well, he
penis,
would know,
but not length.
It would be funny if they filled it with CAULK, like cock.
Oh yeah, that is funny.
Then they filled your cock with cock.
But I will say, so because I'm getting the notes to Humble and Fred.
We're working blue here
because I'm getting the notes for Humble and Fred for this guy, this doc. He's not a doctor.
What is he? You don't have to be a doctor to inject.
No, he's not a doctor. So he's
that's not a medical procedure.
He had spas, and then he discovered this thing. So he's not like a urologist or whatever. Yeah, but I had to put the notes. So there's these pictures. So I have all these pictures that are sent to me from this guy that I'm sharing with Humble and Fred before and after. So even though YYZ Gord says it adds girth and not length, I have seen the photos that tell me in a flaccid state. Stu's reaction. Cam Brio is here on the live stream, and Cam is your biggest fan.
Yeah.
He's your stan. Can we say that?
No, he's my Cam.
He's your scam. So Cam Brio has a picture of your reaction. You're gonna see there. So Basement Driller wants the photo of the guy who will fill his flaccid penis. But this is all to say I've seen the photos.
But
absolutely,
you've seen the photos,
like before and after photos.
Can you show me the photo?
I can show you the photo. Yeah. But
Do I have to wait for that?
You won't. Okay, I have to. I'll tell you what I'll do.
No, don't. I don't want that in my inbox.
You don't want a flaccid penis picture in your inbox, even though it's for medical purposes.
You could just turn the screen.
Well, that's a lot of work. Okay, so I'll get back to that. I want to tell you, Stu, you're doing quite well. We're going to dive into some things I learned about 5/7 films.
Wait, before that, finish this penis talk. So you saw the picture.
No, my point is, it absolutely is not just girth, okay? I think something to do with the weight of this filler in the penis makes it appear
heavier,
much longer. So I'm telling you, I've seen, unless, they cherry pick the before and after pictures because it's marketing, right? But this is quite a dramatic change in the flaccid state of this gentleman's penis who got the filler injections. And this guy was on Humble and Fred this week to tell Humble and Fred about it.
Is anybody going to get injected on the Humble and Fred show?
Well, no, but they were offered a free consultation.
How does that work? Like you go there, you drop trow, and they're like, "Yep,
yeah.
You need it."
I'm sure they could do it on Zoom or something. It's like, show us your penis. Yeah, like, we can work with that.
Like the consultation's like, okay, yep.
Okay, we are working blue today.
If you go to a consultation to get injected in your penis to give it more girth, length, what have you, clearly that's like you're walking on the car lot because you want to buy a car.
What, on that note, when I got the vasectomy, because remember we kicked out the vasectomy
Sure.
the consultation, there was an option to do the consultation before the procedure. So literally,
But that's a different consultation.
I guess you know you're going to get it, right?
Well, it's also
You're
like
a urologist.
But also like, when you're going to get your balls cut off, metaphorically, do they try to talk you out of it?
No, they just make sure that you're done having kids. Like they do have a little chat with you, like how many kids do you have?
And you're like 5.
I said 4, and I didn't get a lot of follow-ups. But I suppose if I said I had 0 kids, they might
Do you think that they ever talk somebody out of the room?
I bet you that they have a moral obligation to just make sure you know that this might not be reversible. Like this might prevent you from it's supposed to prevent you, but this will probably prevent you from having any children. Like I bet you there is at least one person who has walked out after the consultation when they said, maybe I just haven't met the right woman yet.
I mean, you got to think from like a capitalistic sort of state or mindset. Capitalism. Think about that. If somebody walks in anywhere for a consultation, does any industry talk you out of the room or convince you not to spend your money there?
But there's a moral obligation to
But is there moral obligations when it comes to injecting penises with girth? It already by injecting your penis with filler, you're already morally not showing your real actual penis.
I have no interest in this procedure. I'm not. I can't remember how it came up. We were talking.
I'll tell you how it came up. Because you handed me this measuring tape.
So shout out to Ridley Funeral Home.
I may need the filler based on what I've seen from Ridley Funeral Home's measuring tape. This is wrong, right? Like this is
I don't think it's wrong, but I do urge you
to subscribe,
to consider Ridley Funeral Home and subscribe to Brad's excellent podcast, Life's Undertaking. We actually recorded a new episode yesterday. He's selling a hearse. He bought a new hearse for Ridley Funeral Home, and he's got a 2010 great condition hearse.
How much does he want for it?
$25,000.
That's
for
it?
A good condition, low mileage, relatively speaking, 2010 hearse.
Okay, I may have a buyer.
Okay, well
now let's talk about this for a second.
Okay,
you know our mutual friend, yours,
Cam?
hero of pop culture, Ed
Conroy.
Yeah,
of course.
Retro Ontario.
He's in the Hall of Fame too.
A fellow Hall of Famer.
First Hall of Famer, I think.
He and I, the couple of times that we've run into each other, mutual adulation for one another, just based on the fact that we are both Hall of Famers. That aside, he was once working with another filmmaker on a Mad Hatter. I don't know if you recall this.
I do
Mad
remember
Hatter
this.
documentary.
Of course, that's in the Esplanade. No, where was the Mad Hatter?
There were several locations.
Okay.
But that, ironically, and we can talk about this offline, but that project somehow landed on my desk a few weeks ago because it never got finished. But anyway, the guy from the Mad Hatter bought a hearse, and he would pick you up for your birthday party in a hearse. So
you're looking for a hearse.
If that guy would want to buy a hearse.
Okay, this is wild because I only found out about the hearse being for sale yesterday because this new hearse only arrived at Ridley.
Well, you need to tell
week.
Ed to tell the Mad Hatter guy that there's a hearse for sale.
Okay, I will.
Maybe you can get a commission for that.
I don't even need a commission. I'm just happy to help out my friends here. I do want to help you out, Stu, because if you have any...
Is this a Barb Paluskowitz plug?
No. There's a great podcast. Whether you have, an investor you work with, maybe you've got a guy and a gal you work with.
I do.
If you do, I hope they're with Ridley. I hope they're fucking... Did I just say I hope they're with Ridley Funeral Home?
This better have something to do with Raymond James Limited.
It's all about fucking Raymond James. I'm here to tell you, even if you're managing your own investments, you get great advice, great best practices from the Advantaged Investor podcast from Raymond James Canada. And I want you, Stu Stone, to subscribe and listen to the beautiful voice of Chris Cooksey as he interviews experts and brings that knowledge to you. The Advantaged Investor.
I have a great guest for him. I'll give you the name offline, but that would be a good guest for him.
Okay, give me that info.
On the Advantaged Investor.
Yeah, the D is tough to nail.
Back when we were selling ringtones back in the day, you remember ringtones?
Of course.
It's so funny how ringtones was such a huge economy, and then it wasn't.
Right.
Now everybody's phone's on silent.
Well, it's been smartphones, I think, killed.
But still, people don't want to hear fucking ringtones when their phone rings anymore. But back
Pick up
then
the
they
phone.
did. Right. But back when we were selling ringtones, and we had circle dot ringtones for sale. So if me and Jamie were playing at a comedy club, or we were at a party or a gathering, or doing a show like yours, although you would need a time machine because shows like this didn't exist back then.
Right.
But we would actually get the person's phone and make them get the ringtone like right in front of us. So you could, if you want people to subscribe and do some hand-to-hand combat, when you have guests and I'm just giving you a
phone.
tip.
I like this idea.
I'm giving you a tip. If you have, Dean McDermott down here.
We had a falling out.
Did you?
And it went into people.com.
I think I remember that. Yeah, there was.
But by the way, nothing I did wrong, just so you know.
Yeah, never you.
But
you could
he's
actually.
got some issues.
Okay, if you had, let's name an FOTM that would be down here.
Steve Paikin.
If good old Stevie Paikin. If Steve Paikin was here, you could take his phone and you could actually watch him subscribe to the Advantage Investor, and the amount of shows you do, which is over 1,400 episodes,
5 a week or whatever.
You could probably get like a lot of subscribers per week.
Hey, and sometimes there's 2 down here. I had Rob Pruce with Liza Fromer yesterday.
And Rob would have hit subscribe because, like, who's going to say no to you in the moment?
I love this idea.
Yeah.
And I could make sure, you're not subscribed to Toronto Mike's, you son of a bitch. I do that. Then I subscribe him to the Advantage Investor, then Between Two Fermenters, and then I subscribe to the Life's Undertaking.
Do you know what we call that in the industry? Growth. And you don't even need to get your penis injected.
Penis filler.
We are professionals here,
Oh my
Mike.
God.
We haven't lost a step.
Oh my God. Okay. I wish that the penis filler was a sponsor. Then I could
They should be, because there's a lot of little dick energy in this room right now.
On that note,
yes,
5'7" 5'7" films.
5'7" films.
Okay.
Yes.
I have a bunch of questions here. So you ready, Stu Stone? Now that you're warmed up.
This is so fun.
Now that you're warmed up. This is the biggest this headline came across my social feed. I think it was like the day before yesterday. Okay, I'm going to read it to you.
Sure.
And you're going to tell me what the fuck it means, okay? Canada's Frantic Films.
Yes.
5'7" Films strike scripted and unscripted formats pact.
A pact in blood.
It sounds to me like the UN or something. There's
Yes.
this scripted and unscripted formats pact between Frantic Films and your company, 5'7" Films. I'm going to read the byline now, and then you're going to tell me what the hell it means. Canadian production companies Frantic Films and 5'7" Films have struck a strategic deal to develop scripted and unscripted formats. Under the strategic partnership, the companies plan to bring multiple projects to the market in the coming years. What does this all mean? What's going on, Stu?
Well, Frantic Films is an esteemed company in Canada. They did the Baroness von Sketch show. They do all sorts of
You want me to blow your fucking mind right now?
Sure.
You know we've been talking about Leslie in the live stream?
Yes.
Do you know who her sister is?
Who's her sister?
Carolyn Taylor.
Wow.
One of the Baroness von Sketchers.
Well, then she's familiar with Jamie Brown and the Frantic Films team. So they also have a show, a pottery show with Seth Rogen going right now. Business is booming for them.
Wow.
They also have an office. This is some inside baseball for you here, Mike.
I love it.
They have an office. They are located in the wonderful city of Winnipeg. And Mike, that I love shooting my movies in Winnipeg because they got that great tax credit. So to team up with Frantic Films, for 5'7" Films to have a strategic partner who has their flag cemented in Winnipeg with A-list crew, talent, payroll services, legal, all of the things that I could need to make a movie or a TV production,
right?
It makes perfect sense for me to go and make a deal like this.
But 5'7" Films is just you and your brother-in-law.
Well, there's more of us now. But it is just me and my brother-in-law.
But you and your brother-in-law, like you guys, is it a 50-50 thing?
Yes.
But is there any other people owning this?
We just sold off a small piece, but it's still Adam and myself are the majority shareholders, correct? We sold a bit. There was somebody that
Who'd you sell it to? David Kynes?
Well, we sold a little bit to Raymond James, one of his investors. No, we got some private money coming in to finance a couple of films. As you know, we did the Faking a Murder movie. So we raised from one, we sold off a little piece of the puzzle so that we now can shoot not one, Mike, not two, but 3 more of those movies.
Okay, so I obviously
we had a deal with Hollywood Suite. It's complicated, but we had a deal.
What happened? So David Kynes, we referenced him a couple times.
The best.
A great FOTM,
number one.
Oh, I met you at that breakfast.
Yes, you did.
And Ed Conroy was there.
Yes, he was.
It's all coming back to me.
Yeah.
Okay, and I met the guy who co-wrote the Fusilli Jerry episode of Seinfeld. That's a true story.
Did you get his autograph?
And sadly, his sister, who was Marjorie Gross, was a writer on that episode, had passed away quite young.
Ridley
actually,
Funeral Home,
but,
shout out.
Shout out to Jonathan Gross. We got to meet him there. Okay, a lot of stuff going on here. But are you still in business with Hollywood Suite?
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
And this deal that we just did with Frantic Films is a direct reflection of that. It's all an offspring of that deal we did with Hollywood Suite. So Hollywood Suite is still our broadcast home.
Okay.
And David Kynes is still our father.
Okay, so David Kynes at Hollywood Suite, you still have the deal there, but where does SwearNet come into all this?
Now, SwearNet came into play because Rob Wells is in Vandits.
Oh my God, yes.
And SwearNet
Trailer
is
Park
owned by
Boys.
the Trailer Park Boys. And Adam and I are developing a show with the Trailer Park Boys. And we were talking to them about their SwearNet, which they have their own streaming service called SwearNet, which God bless. These guys are so impressive. People don't realize what a fucking operation the Trailer Park Boys have going. They've built it for 20 years, and it is just unbelievable what they have. And their fan base is like rabid, Mike, like yours.
It's sort of like Letterkenny. Is Trailer Park Boys bigger than Letterkenny?
I would say that. Well, at any given time, anything is popular. But Trailer Park Boys' longevity have been around for 100 years already.
Of course, longer
in
time,
dog years.
Right.
But they have a thing called SwearNet that they created. First, it was like a joke, like UHF, like a network you could swear on, SwearNet. And now it's actually a real thing. They have tons of subscribers. They put up original content. Vandits naturally it made sense to find a home on SwearNet,
and that's not a conflict with Hollywood Suite.
Not at all, because Hollywood Suite is so sweet.
So I can't assume everyone is as fluent in Stu Stone as I am. So I'm trying to break it down here. Okay, so you made a movie in Winnipeg last year. Maybe was it a
couple years ago?
2 years ago,
Vandits, right?
Vandits,
yes,
and that can be seen on SwearNet.
It can also be seen on Hollywood Suite.
And
obviously,
of course, it's on Hollywood Suite.
Hollywood
absolutely.
Suite.
But then you made okay. Then you went back to Winnipeg,
yes,
to film the sequel to Faking a Murderer.
Correct.
And that's called, and I think you use asterisks or whatever, but that's called Don't Fuck with Ghosts.
Yes, and I can explain the title again for those who want me to explain it.
Yeah, go ahead.
But the first film was called Faking a Murderer, which is obviously a nod to Making a Murderer,
right?
Which is a Netflix true crime phenomenon of that era. There was another true crime Netflix phenomenon called Don't Fuck with Cats. So this is in our sequel to Faking a Murder, we figured let's do a nod again, and ours is called Don't Fuck with Ghosts.
Right.
And so this sequel has Adam and myself going out with real people, looking for proof that ghosts are real or not real. Now, you may not know this, but I didn't just go to Winnipeg for the beautiful tax credits. It happens to be known as the most haunted city in Canada.
Is that true?
That's what they say.
Is that as true as when your truck got stolen a couple years back?
The truck did get stolen, Mike. So if that is your frame of reference, then yes, it is as true as that. So there was lots to see, lots to do, lots of ghost hunting to be had. And now I am in the post-production phase of that. We shot, as you know, it's not a scripted film, the Faking a Murder movie, and nor was Don't Fuck with Ghosts, which means a traditional movie, you have a script, Mike, Toronto Mike. You have a script. You got 90 pages.
Right.
You know what the scenes are. You know how they go. When you don't have a script, you're just rolling camera, Mike. 200 hours of footage to make an 88-minute movie.
If I may, Stu. Okay,
yes.
So there were, I believe that some of the people are real people and this is really happening. But then again, you do hire Tony Napo.
Yeah, so that's part of the formula. So
with Tony Napo, like that might not be, it's sort of like Curb Your Enthusiasm, right? There must be like we're going to do this. Maybe it's not scripted completely. But I mean, there are actors hired to play certain roles. So there is a bit of a script, right?
There is definitely, I wouldn't use the word script, but there's definitely, we would call it in the biz, a beat sheet.
Oh, this is all back to the penis filler again?
Where we would know what beats we're trying to hit. Now, let me explain that to you, okay?
Sure.
So say Adam and I need to get, for our plot, because we have a story that we have laid out that we're trying to get real people to do stuff to fit our narrative.
Right.
Of course, if something crazy happens, like we find a ghost, that changes the whole narrative.
Oh, that's the best.
But we have a plan going into this movie. This is the beginning, this is the middle, and hopefully this is the end, right? How we get there, we'll find out. But that's what we're trying to get. So say for our movie, I need you to say, I'm getting my penis filled with filler, which is something that you commonly say today. But, let's pretend you didn't always say that.
Right.
If Adam and I need you to say that, and that's the only goal is for you to say that line, I cannot tell you to say that line, Mike, because you're not an actor. And there are unions. And I can't, I cannot tell you to say anything. So me and Adam, if we have to sit here for 2 hours trying to convince you or prod you or manipulate you to say you're getting your penis filled, eventually you're going to say it and we got it.
Wow.
So if it took us 90 minutes to get you to say that, maybe some other cool shit happened in that 90 minutes and now we got a scene. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. When can we see Don't Fuck With Ghosts?
Don't Fuck With Ghosts is scheduled to be released this Halloween season.
Right.
And it will be a Hollywood Suite production in Canada. Heartbeat, Kevin Hart's company in the United States, will be distributing it. So this is a much bigger playing field for us and for Hollywood Suite as well.
Wait, I think we talked about this Kevin Hart thing before, but let me hear it again. So Don't Fuck With Ghosts. What's Kevin Hart doing with that?
They're going to distribut the movie in the United States.
So he owns some kind of...
He does. He has the rights to the film to sell it and exploit it, as they say in the legal terms, wherever he wishes outside of Canada.
Wow, look at you.
So it's a much bigger...
He's not 5'7", though.
He might not be.
I think he's shorter than 5'7".
But I think that's fun. When we go to his office, we're like the big boys.
I think that must... Yeah, listen, I love it when Peter Grosz comes over. I feel like a fucking giant, and it feels so good, and I'm usually shorter than my...
Kevin Hart has built an empire, not unlike the Trailer Park Boys, but imagine the Trailer Park Boys empire, and imagine it injected with dick filler. That's Kevin Hart's empire. He bought Oprah Winfrey's old building. He's got an amazing operation down there. Adam and I flew down there to meet with them recently.
Where's down there?
In Los Angeles, like right in Hollywood, and it's so impressive. And this guy is... all of the successful people that I have worked with in Hollywood, we'll call it, but even in Vegas with Chris Angel, the work ethic of these people who you see everywhere, like someone like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who you see everywhere, that's not by accident. The work ethic is almost psychotic. You know what I mean? Like Chris Angel, when I was working with him, this is already 10 years ago, but he did a live show every night at the hotel, plus shot our TV series all day. When did he sleep? And he still found time to go to the gym and to go do and eat and sleep and whatever else he's doing. I don't understand how he had the capacity to do that. But that's Kevin Hart. That's Kevin Hart. That's the Trailer Park Boys too. That's anybody you see.
Well, that's 5'7" films.
Well, it is.
That's Stu Stone.
Sure, but these guys are doing it on a whole other level. Okay. It's not an accident that you see these guys, the most successful people everywhere.
Okay, so we got the Bandits update. We kind of had a Faking a Murderer. You can watch it on Hollywood Suite right now, right? Faking a Murderer.
Yeah.
Okay. The sequel to, you mentioned multiple sequels. So the first sequel to Faking a Murderer is the film that's going to be out in time for Halloween 2024.
Yes, Don't Fuck With Ghosts.
Will I be invited to a red carpet event in Toronto?
100%.
Okay, that was fun. But you know what? I don't think Cam had a good night because that was literally the night he got the email.
Leave it to you to bring that up.
Don't come back to Twitter because Elon Musk doesn't want you back.
Now, I'll tell you what. Cam had it real good at Twitter.
Yes, he did.
And I think, you don't know what you got till it's gone type of thing.
Right, Janet Jackson.
But I will say that Cam has that.
I said Janet Jackson, but she sampled it Joni Mitchell.
Joni Mitchell never lied.
But I went to the sample because, hey.
Yeah. Interpolation, though, if you ask what the drummer from, the former drummer, what's his name?
Sammy Cohn? No. Jeremy Taggart.
Jeremy Taggart. He likes to argue about that.
Interloping is when you recreate it, isn't it? Or when it's...
No, interpolation would be like how when me and Jamie Kennedy
did this. What are you going to say? Because I'm going to play a song that I'm going to play this.
That's not an interpolation. That's a sample. Because that's an actual sample.
Throughout the song?
No, because that's actually I sampled their master recording.
Okay, so interpolation, you have to recreate it.
Recreate it. Or like in the case of Blurred Lines. He didn't sample Marvin Gaye. They didn't even replay it, but it sounds so much
But
like
that's
it that
still
it's
kind of a bullshit. I think that's a bullshit
right,
ruling.
but that's an
That's a
interpolation.
mood or whatever.
But that's called an interpolation.
Even though they actually, okay, that's a whole. I think that was a fucked up decision, to be honest. But
I think it may have gotten reversed since then.
I don't know.
But either
you
way,
know, I met Alan Thicke.
yes, the late great Alan Thicke.
It's all penis filler.
Now,
That's how you get
Alan
Thicke.
Thicke, you know, everyone knows this, but in case you don't, fun fact, Mike.
Okay, can I guess? You're gonna tell me he wrote the theme song
For
to
which
Different
song,
Strokes.
though? Different strokes. But also, I believe The Facts of Life.
I think so too. Yeah, Thick of the Night.
Yeah.
And he was at the when they opened the Dome. They had that really corny ceremony. He was,
Unbelievable.
there, Andrea Martin and
Yeah.
everybody. So that's a great moment in Toronto history here. So is this on Blowing
No,
Up?
no.
What's this?
This is not on anywhere. I don't even know how you have this.
Let me give it a moment. Actually, I kind of dig it. Hold on.
I'd rather not do this.
So you don't like your old stuff?
It's not that I don't like it. It's just like, what am I going to do? Listen to me fucking rap?
All right,
it's like, you know.
I'll take it down.
it's
I don't want to upset you.
You're not
So-
upsetting me at all. I do appreciate that you love it.
I'm proud of you. Like you
I-
created such great songs.
I just
so.
think that, like, to say, like, if someone was to, I don't know how to say this. Listen,
it.
Decisive.
You're safe here.
Decisive is a rapper.
Multiple times he's been over. I love that guy, Derek Christoph.
Decisive is an MC. He's a rapper.
Right.
When he wakes up in the morning, he's a rapper. When he goes to sleep at night, he's a rapper. To me, don't think that I could say the same, because I just felt like it was something that I know how to do.
But that's like because and I guess I'm going to borrow a line from one of your great films. But you're jack of all trades, master of none.
There you go.
Is that how you feel? Like you're kind of good at lots of things, but you didn't specialize in one of those.
You could be
things.
right.
And jack of all trades, by the way, if people that's a movie right there. You got to see.
It's a good movie.
It's a great fucking movie.
I don't even know where you can see it now, but it needs to be seen if you haven't seen it.
The guy who tweeted it, Garland, right? Jeff Garland.
Yeah.
He got fired from his network sitcom because of
Goldbergs.
being difficult to work with. Did you read about that?
I didn't read about that, but I know that he's definitely on the new Curb season.
No, he's still on that. Absolutely, he's still buds with Larry David, but he got fired from the Goldbergs, which was probably the better paying gig, of course. But okay, so
I'm pretty sure he did pretty well though, regardless.
and he was a big fan of your great movie, Jack of All Trades.
He was, and that's part of the how the movie even blew up is because of him.
blowing up.
Yes. To make a long story short, we had released the movie. We went to go shop the movie Jack of All Trades. Nobody wanted it. We took it everywhere. Nobody wanted it. People didn't know what it was. What the hell is this? So we put it out with Level Film, who we had just signed a new deal with. Also, by the way, Level Film is a great distributor in Canada.
How many deals are you
We have so
signing,
many
man?
deals.
You're
It's-
always on that phone closing deals.
Honestly,
ABC.
shout out to my brother-in-law and partner Adam, but he and I are really, I hate to say it because I don't want to
Well, you can't jinx something.
but boy, we are really on another roll right now. We are on a roll these days. Can
you afford a hearse for $25,000?
Not yet, but will he take a down payment of like 5%? I will tell you what, we have deals all over the place. Only few of them actually get press like the one that you mentioned, but we have deals all over the map. And things are really going really terrific for 5-7
Good for
Films.
you, man.
Thank you. I cannot
How much
complain.
of the success is due to your admittance into the FOTM Hall of Fame?
I would say like 80%. And I would say the
because
rest
you were
is
nobody when you started coming on
Right.
Pandemic, and 76 weeks later, look at you now.
Yeah, it's because you provided the dick filler that I needed.
Oh, so I do find it interesting though that you feel like I think that's called imposter syndrome. You
Yes, I
suffer
think I have that. I know that it's like very, it's very buzzwordy to say that, right? It's like kind of became like a buzz thing, to imposter syndrome. I forget who it was, but somebody put it on social media. Then like everybody's just like,
it's a real thing.
It is a real thing, but I'm saying it's like also buzzworthy now. People
Sure.
talk about it.
Sure.
You know what? I think that maybe I have that. I don't know. Like you play my rap songs,
But rolling with Saget,
and I get embarrassed by it. Like why? I shouldn't,
But
because
do you-
it is pretty good.
It's great. Honestly, I'm jealous, man. You're a master of all here, as far as I'm concerned. So, like "Rolling with Saget," which is, I'm gonna say probably your most famous song, "Rolling with Saget."
Sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's excellent. Decisive would. He had a big role in that too, of course.
The biggest role.
But he would say you're a great rapper. Like, you're pleasant to listen to. You have a great demeanor about you. And whenever I dig on YouTube and I find, I pulled circle earlier. The Stu Stone verse is kill, man. You're very good at that. And then I think, this motherfucker, this guy was in the Raccoons. Like, this guy was in what are those? A Wayne and Schuster.
The Wayne and Schuster show.
Like, we talked
Shout
about
out to
Heavenly
Wayne and
Boys.
Schuster.
Oh, and then I found this. I'm going to just play a little bit of this, just to, since we're talking about it.
Oh boy, I never know what's coming.
Excuse me. You're in my seat.
Oh,
You're right. Guess it doesn't really matter. First day?
Yeah.
Brooke Rogers.
Hi, Brian Coulson. I just
is this Goosebumps?
This is Goosebumps.
Thank you, right?
You're in this Goosebumps, okay? You're on 90210.
First of all,
Donnie Darko.
there is a select few of us, and I'm a member of a very elite club.
At my
I'll
old
have you
school, I
know.
was in all the plays. Just wish I could have tried out for
That's
this
the
one.
Phantom of the
You can
Auditorium,
help
one
me
of
with
our
the scenery.
one of the more
Brian,
popular
Tina, Brian.
Goosebumps
Goosebumps
episodes. I forgot my
episodes.
script. Be right
But
back.
I'm in an elite club. Not only am I in the FOTM Hall of Fame,
Remember,
and not only am I the
Careful.
purveyor, is that the right word, of the
Sure.
FOSS squad?
You can start on the
Which,
But,
which
front.
now has one member, of course.
There are a
Cambrio.
few of us that were on Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark,
Doing this
which were the rival Coke and Pepsi of like
Right.
children's horror programming.
Not me.
I did both shows, and there's a few guys that and gals who have the luxury of being able to say that, and I get to be one of them.
And, Donnie Darko, of course, and The Boys, and we could go on, right? So you got that whole, and then you've got, of course, this whole directing career you've got with your brother-in-law now, and you've got 5-7, and you got these deals everywhere. I don't think you should have imposter syndrome, because you're a great rapper and you're a great director and you're a great actor.
We haven't officially diagnosed that I have that. we're casually conversing here, but I do feel like
No diagnosis.
I do feel like Mike, I do feel like I put so much passion and effort into everything that I do, and sometimes, the results just aren't there. And I think that wears on you after a matter of time, because you just feel like, what's the point? And you can start doubting yourself, and you can start being like, I put so much into this Rolling with Saget video, or this Jack of all trades, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you don't get the desired results, whether it be financially or career growth or whatever.
Are you looking for an Oscar nomination?
No, but it would be nice to be, to make it easier for us to be able to make more movies. Like the fact that we have to still jump through a million hoops just to do anything. That's nothing's changed on that front. Yes, people will take our call now. That's very helpful. But it's not like I can snap my fingers and like make a show happen. And you would think that with the resume and all these accolades that you are bestowing upon me here, that I would be able to do that. And it just doesn't work like that, unfortunately. And I don't know why that is. And I can't really question it. I can just keep pushing forward. But I don't know if that's called imposter syndrome or just somebody who was thrown into a career from age 2 that has been a professional before I knew how to talk. And, there's a lot of ups and downs in that world, and you have to keep evolving and keep adapting. I saw people peak, Mike, friends of mine that made millions of dollars, and then you don't hear from them ever again, career-wise, whatever. I've seen people get messed up with drugs. I've seen friends that I grew up with that were child actors that are dead, overdosing, suicide, molestation, other kinds of foul horror things that I don't even wish to get into. I saw it all, experienced firsthand what these kids went through, saw. I grew up with these guys. And the fact that I've been able to, I don't feel like I've peaked, which is crazy to say. I don't feel like I've ever had that moment yet where I was as big, it's like I never got to the top of the mountain, even with all of these things. I just
But you're still climbing the mountain.
Still climbing
You're
the
not
mountain.
rolling down the other end.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
I feel like longevity is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because I'm still at it. And it surprises a lot of people when I've run into people who were colleagues in the 80s and 90s, when I'm a kid. They can't believe I'm still doing this stuff. And they're amazed that I'm still at it. And I'm not at it in a way where it is a struggle, Mike, but we're not. It could be way worse. It's like I'm making movies.
Right.
There's people that wish they made one movie. We just finished our 6th. I cannot complain about productivity. But, do I wish that more people watched Faking a Murder? Yes, I do. Because I think it's such a great movie. And like, as much as I think like the music's, there was probably a time when I thought Circle, Circle, Dot, Dot was the greatest song, or Rollin' with Sag was the greatest song. Like, my mindset now is that Jack of All Trades is a great movie that I'm so proud of. That Faking a Murder is a great movie that I'm so proud of. That it's so original. It's so awesome. And the making of it was so complex. Like, people don't realize the work to put that together. And then Vandits, I'm obviously very proud of that. The fact that we opened on screens across Canada with Cineplex Odeon, and I love that I called it Cineplex Odeon, but that doesn't happen, Mike.
Right.
So I'm very, very excited and happy and honored and feel privileged to be a part of the ecosystem of entertainment in this country and in North America. In some places across the world with shows like Magic School Bus that went worldwide. But I'm still climbing.
You're still climbing the mountain.
And isn't that fascinating?
Yeah.
Like people still consider me, at my advanced age, a young filmmaker, Mike. They do. They consider
only Martin Scorsese considers you a young filmmaker.
They consider me a young filmmaker with a fresh voice, Mike,
right.
even at this advanced age.
Well, you have a young face.
It's because I'm still climbing.
You're still climbing. No, you haven't peaked yet, that's for sure. You're still climbing. And
maybe that's not imposter syndrome. Maybe that's me being jaded now and frustrated with just
Cable
the way...
Guy Jeff, who knows you well, right?
Yes.
For those who don't know, how far
This
back
is real
do you go
talk
with this
right
guy?
here, brother.
I know it is. He says, you're always first but never monetized. Always first but never monetized is the sentence he typed out
That's
there.
a true sentence.
But I mean, when I think about you and what you were doing with Jamie Kennedy and blowing up, I've said this to you before, but you were just like ahead of it all, like on the bleeding edge.
That's what Jeff is referring to
right, because
here.
The Lonely Island would come along.
And then they'd monetize.
And they would monetize
Yeah.
it. Right. And you guys were as funny and as talented. It was just too early.
Listen, the people who invented, the guy who invented McDonald's hamburgers isn't McDonald. It's like the guy who invented RC Cola isn't Coke. It's like if you're the first to do something, you're making the blueprint so someone else can come and refine it and figure out how to make money with it. But like when you're the one in the trenches trying to figure out how to do the stuff, that's a thankless thing to be, is a pioneer. Or to be a trailblazer.
And here you are speaking to me on a podcast, and this podcast that you're speaking to me on is in its 12th year, so it turns 12 in August. But Cambrio, the biggest foss I know, friend of Stu Stone, says you started the podcast boom with Colt Cabana.
Well, Cable Guy Jeff gets lots of credit for that.
Well, I want to talk about, but I did a screen capture of 10 years ago this day. This was the top 10, and I was like number 2 or something.
Which was awesome to see.
Which is awesome.
And I know how you did it. We'll talk off air because I knew the same. I figured out.
By category. Yeah, of course. I never denied that.
I figured out the
for
same.
my category, I was number 2.
I figured out the same thing as you did.
This American Life was 1 or something.
Yes.
But number 10 was a podcast with Colt Cabana.
Correct.
Remind us about you on the bleeding edge of podcasting.
Well, it's funny because Cable Guy Jeff's going to put something out about that in the coming months. But we back when we were doing the Blowing Up album, we were the first to do a lot of things, Mike, because our TV show, which was on MTV at the time, each week we would have a song that we perform on the show. That song would get released on iTunes that day, which iTunes was still very in its infancy of people paying for music
99
at this point.
cents a song,
Correct.
I think, yeah.
Then we also, after the episode aired on MTV, you could get the episode on iTunes. So we had a deal with iTunes. We were the first show to do this.
Wow.
At the end credits of every episode, it would be like, for more, go to iTunes.
Wow.
Like we embraced iTunes when other people were trying to LimeWire. Put it that way.
Right.
That afforded us, in the great Robin Bechtel, who was the head of new media, they called it, at Warner Brothers. Basically, she ran the internet department, but she loved us and we loved her. She got us signed because she thought this Bob Saget thing could go viral before the word viral even existed. And she was right, by the way. So we afforded this meeting because we had this relationship with iTunes. We went in Vegas with the iTunes team, met with us to tell us, hey, we're going to do this and that. They showed us this new category that they were going to launch called podcasts. And this is in 2005.
I remember this moment well because that's when I kind of dove into the world and I started the Humble and Fred podcast with them in
That's
December
why you and I are
06.
kindred spirits, because we're like-minded in that sense.
Yeah, December 06. Okay, continue.
And so Jeff and I were already doing content that we would put up on our website, and we were trying to always figure out ways to do it. So Jeff figured out a way. We didn't have the recording equipment. He used an old camcorder and plugged in microphones and recorded the audio, and we just did we figured out how to get it onto iTunes.
Right, I remember that moment.
And he really pieced this together. And before you knew it, we started doing live streaming, and for about 10 years. We were doing it every week, live streaming and podcasting and all this stuff.
What was the show called?
That show was called TSM Radio.
Yeah.
And the live stream show was called the Sunday Night Stew. We were live every Sunday night.
Right.
And that's how I got the Chris Angel job, because he watched the Sunday Night Stew. But every Sunday night we would go on, we are live, Sunday Night Stew, whatever. And I'd have guests and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Kind of like what you're doing now. But this is when no one was doing that.
Right.
Before you know it, Mike, and as you know, everybody started doing podcasts. So it became such a sea of dreck for a long time, where there was just too much, and so we kind of got lost in the
drown
sauce
in the noise,
and it's like trying to monetize, and is impossible, because not only do the advertisers at that time, they don't even know what a podcast is. Right? They don't even acknowledge that.
They don't have a part of their budget that's earmarked for podcasts.
No, and so it's a different world now, and
radio, newspaper, TV,
and so you survived that era to the point where you actually have a wall full of sponsors behind you, and obviously you work your ass off to maintain these sponsorships and these opportunities, right?
Right.
But these didn't exist back then. You couldn't just call Ridley Funeral Home and say, "Hey, I got this podcast." They wouldn't even know what it is. So that was the frustration with that, and it goes back to the whole conversation, like you said first. It's like
bleeding edge. I
put everything I could into this thing, and it was just like, how do we keep this going? It just didn't make sense anymore, because it was just like so much noise, and music is the same frustration, because now record labels, you kind of miss what you did. It's like that. You don't know what you have till it's gone. The record labels, as much as they were evil and they were basically like mafia practices, like loan sharks, the way that the business works, they curated music for us. So, somebody with some taste put 50 songs out to the radio station and they played 30 of them, and it would be curated for us. And now with technology and this vast ocean, over 100,000 songs are uploaded to Spotify every 3 hours, Mike.
Wow.
How do you break through that? If you're an artist in music now, how do you break through that? It's almost impossible to break through. If you are a successful independent artist now, boy, either you got to deal with the devil or the Illuminati, or you got lucky, because it's all talent. The rest is dick filler, Mike. It's almost impossible to break through, because there is so much dreck out there. There's so much, Mike.
Yeah, how do you cut through the noise?
How do you cut through? So when you see someone like a Billie Eilish or somebody break through out of nowhere, it's all the much more impressive that they were able to do that, because it's so hard. I work with a band now called Jin the Band, Jin the Band. You guys should check them out. They should play live at a TML event. You would love it.
TMLX.
Yes, they should play at one of those events. But they're an amazing band with so much talent, Mike. And I see them and I'm like, how the fuck are you guys not the biggest band?
Right.
Well, you want to know how? Because there's 7... In order for someone just to discover them, they got to go through 7,000 other things to get to that. It's tough. It's real tough. Cry me a river, right? It's tough. The music business was real tough. And so now the movie industry is kind of the same. It's like you put out Faking a Murder and you put out all these independent films. the big studios aren't making small movies anymore, Mike. I
No.
don't know if you've noticed.
I did notice.
But it's like if your movie doesn't cost $80 million to $1 billion for a budget, like they're not even going to make that movie now. It's like they want to spend $1 billion to make $1 billion instead of spend $2 million to make $2 million.
You are right, though I did just see a movie called Saltburn, and I feel like
I want to
that-
see Saltburn.
and I liked it very much.
Yeah,
but
so,
that's like
okay, but that's just like music, Mike. How did that for that movie to break through the noise of the, there's so many shitty movies out there. How
Right.
did that one break through? Organically, that has
and
to
I
happen.
will shout out a movie I just loved called Past Lives, which is not one of those $80 million movies.
So
But,
I don't make those $80 million movies.
Right.
I make movies where we're on a granola bar budget.
Right.
We don't have we're not serving sushi at lunch.
Right.
So we put everything into it, and that's why I love independent movies. I watch like Saltburn. You watch. What about that one that won the Oscar a few years ago, Parasite? You watch these movies, and it's so impressive, and that's why those movies get celebrated and embraced, because the film community themselves know how hard it is. It's so hard. It is harder than a dick that is infused with filler, Mike.
Wow, Stu Stone, you got
Dropping knowledge.
Drop by more often because you deliver the real talk there. But you're still at it, okay? So kudos to you that you're at it and
Still
that you're
at
still at ascending. Okay,
still ascending.
You're climbing the mountain.
Climbing it, man.
And I hope this is fucking Mount Everest. Like I hope it's you got a wild peak and then it takes a long time to get there, because I love that you're on the ascent. Yeah, and you always have a home here. You always have a community here. Like we might not have been around for the Sunday night stew there, but.
No, this is great. You came along at a time in my life where that itch needed to be scratched, Mike. And I would tell you what, you have been the cock filler for me when it comes to this medium. You do it better than anybody. You also you're climbing still, despite the Toronto Star front page. That you haven't peaked. You still have lots of real talk to go.
Hey, I haven't even figured out what I'm doing here yet, so
It's a real pleasure to be a part of
show.
the universe that you've created here, and I'm not envious of it. I'm proud of it. Just like you're proud of my rap music or whatever it was.
I hear that and I go, this is fucking good. And I know that, and I will say my 7-year-old heard me listening to Circle Circle ... yesterday, and she said, "Oh, Daddy, I like that." Like she was telling me how much
that's
she
what I'm
liked
saying.
hearing
Like,
it.
there
And
you
then
go.
I said, well, the great Stu Stone made that, and I said he's visiting tomorrow, and she had that, like it was like, what do you mean the guy who made that great song
Right.
is going to be in our basement tomorrow?
She's like Gino Vanelli did not impress her, but
no,
but Circle
she
Circle
didn't give
dot.
a fuck about black cars like
Yeah,
I did.
well,
But
either
she
did
was
he.
into Circle Circle. Can we get off it already?
I did listen to your Hayden episode.
Oh, what did you think?
I thought
he gave
that-
me this hat.
Oh, that's so cool. I thought that it was really interesting to see how you won him over.
Yes. They should teach that to young broadcasters.
Because like he had a very, very standoffish, like,
No.
what am I doing here? Kind of like,
I don't want to be here. I
Yeah.
don't want to talk.
and like by the end of it, he was like, "Is that you got to go? Is that the trolley?" But by the end of
No,
that,
it's just Al Grego who's coming over. Don't worry.
I suggest you have a listen if you haven't heard it already. But it's a real masterclass on how Mike won over Hayden, who is notoriously one of the guys that doesn't do this type of stuff. He's not this outspoken guy. He's like a shy, quiet, reserved kind of guy.
I hate doing interviews.
Yeah.
What am I doing here? He was literally, I got him in the basement only because he was a soccer dad. Okay. So I did the whole, like, our kids were on the same team. And all summer I would see him on during Tuesday night for soccer. And he said, I better do this guy's podcast. Like his kid's on the same team as my kid or whatever. And I could tell right away, I don't want to be here. I don't want to talk about stuff. I hate interviews. And at the end of it, he was literally planning his return. By the end of that conversation, he was saying, well, I have something coming out in the fall. Maybe I can come over in the summer and we can talk again.
He should do a TMLX like this, as a performer.
You know what?
All he needs is his guitar.
I'll reach out. I know. I will reach out to him. I fucking love that
if he
guy.
did as bad
Maybe
as
Noah
it
Mintz
seems-
can join him.
Now that would be amazing. Can you
'Cause
imagine?
That's how we bonded your first episode. See how it
Yeah.
comes full circle?
Yeah.
We bonded with Take.
We did. I do love that because that's Noah singing,
That's Noah singing
and
on
and
Take.
Hayden admitted that to you on
yes,
the show.
and it's fact. It's fact. Yeah, that. And then once in a while, I'll have someone in who remembers the New Music Search and knows Take, and I'll tell them that that's not Hayden singing, and they have that moment of like, that's not. I think Chris Murphy was surprised to learn that's not Hayden singing on tape. It's a mind blow
He was
when you find out.
very Milli Vanilli, and I just dropped a Milli Vanilli thing on my social media. But I want to tell you something real quick that I learned while we're on this subject about Milli Vanilli.
Tell
the guy that wrote the Milli Vanilli and produced the Milli Vanilli songs. You knew
he
that.
just died.
Did he really?
Yeah.
But it's not Boney M. It's this other guy.
Frank Farian is his name, and he just died like a month ago.
This is a scam he ran in the 70s because he cast Boney M.
Yep.
And it's the same shtick he did. Isn't that amazing?
You and I are very similar because so Frank Farian dies. And I did know Mark Weisblatt did fill me in on all this. Phil, you can insert
Dick filled you in.
Yeah. So I was aware of it.
And if there ever was a dick to fill you in, it would be him.
When Frank Farian died, I really did my deep dive into like it was even more than just those two bands. Those are just the two most famous. But yeah, he totally did with Milli Vanilli what he did with Boney M.
Yeah.
And he had massive. How many millions of albums? These are not blowing up numbers.
No, these are fucking real numbers.
Real numbers here. Okay, little mop up on the live stream here, and then we'll get some final thoughts from Stu Stone.
Okay.
And then,
by the way, I love that we can come here with no agenda and just yap.
Yeah, I didn't even think I needed an agenda.
I said to my brother-in-law, I'm like, do I have anything to promote for Mike? I think I'm just going to go talk.
I don't want you to just visit when you
No, I don't.
That's what Lieve Fumka was worried about.
And she's wrong because...
She thinks, he'll just drop by when he's got to sell tickets.
That's not what this is. This is somebody that appreciates... Now, listen, this is real talk. And if you've made it to 2 hours into this interview or conversation, we'll call it, God bless you if you didn't turn it off already. But I will say this. You know what this is? I respect this medium. And Mike does it better than anybody. I've already said that. For me to come and shoot the shit with Mike on this platform, in this medium, it's not about promoting things. It's about being a part of something that I consider myself someone who swam in this pool very early in the deep end. And Mike is a bronze level swimmer. Why would I not want to swim with him?
Love the reference to bronze level. I feel like they got rid of those.
I've only made it to red badge.
I got to yellow. I feel like white was like a big thing.
Retro Ontario needs to do like those badges.
I think I stopped at yellow or something. No, maybe not yellow. Maybe
green.
Gray.
Gray was a big one. Then there was white.
White was the big one I remember because after that it went to like.
Then there's bronze, and then there's bronze with a stripe.
Wow. Okay, so here we are. We're just going to do a little mop up here. All real talk dick filler on the program today. That came from Jeremy, and then it was pointed out. You see, what happens with this interface, I need to talk to Ian, is when someone leaves a new comment, it jumps down to the new comment. So if I'm up because there's been a lot of commenting, so if I'm up higher to read stuff, it jumps on me. It's kind of just a little FYI. We got to fix this interface, Ian service. If you're still
if Weisblatt is one of the people that's saying something, I just want to say something to
Weisblatt. Wait, we'll get to Weisblatt because I'll go in order here.
Okay.
If I can get this to stop. So that was Jeremy Hopkin who said it was all real talk dick filler. Saltburn ending featured a lot of dick, and I do know that because I've seen Saltburn. No spoilers, but there is some filler work there. Okay, thank you, Basement Dweller. YYZ said he didn't mind the end of Saltburn. He's seen it too. There's another scene I won't talk about, but he didn't like another scene, but okay. Shout out to Hayden and Soccer Dads. That's Cambrio. Here it is. So your chance to talk to Mark Weisblatt. I'm going to read his comment. Thanks, Stu, for acknowledging me on the podcast while ignoring my DMs.
I mean, listen, Mark, you know my email address because you sent me your newsletter.
Yeah.
So
don't you miss the newsletter?
Yeah. So if you're trying to get a hold of me and you see that the DMs are not working, like I feel like if you really wanted to get a hold of me, you could have. It's not, the onus is not on me to you don't know what my DMs look like. You didn't include a picture of your penis in that. Why am I going to open it? No, I'm kidding on that part. Or am I? No, I am kidding. But I will say this, Mark, I love you, man. There's no beef between me and you. There's only no kosher beef or non-kosher. There's no beef between us. No roast beef, nothing. There's no beef between us. No. Not only do I think that you're a phenomenal contributor and fellow Hall of Famer here, I think that you should have your own podcast because your voice is and your candor and your knowledge of all
what's
things.
In the cranium.
The thing between your ears, you can't teach that.
No.
I think that you're phenomenal. I don't hate on you. I don't show up at your stuff at all, but if I did, I wouldn't go for a walk. Put it that way. I wouldn't because I love you, man. And that's not some bullshit like Larry David says, people say I love you and don't mean it. I mean it when I say it. I do love Mark. And the Pickle Barrel died out of spite, because had we gone there, we may have changed the future of Pickle Barrel.
Pickle Barrel died for your
Pickle Barrel died so we could live.
Right.
Now there is still a Pickle Barrel location at Yonge and Eglinton. Okay. So if we want to,
we'll move it there.
If we want to pick this up and go for a soup, let's do it. That's all I can say.
Dan J showed up late. I just want to say hi to Dan. He's a good guy.
Hello,
he says,
Dan.
hi, Mike and Stu. He's a little late here. And I like Canada Kev. He reminds me of the soundbite from Mr. Pink in Reservoir Dogs. Dick, 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 dick. You remember this?
Yes.
And that was on the CD. I had the soundtrack to Reservoir Dogs, like most people did, and that clip was in there. Okay. Basement Dweller also misses the 1236 newsletter. Moose Grumpy says, can we get Stu to send some love? So I didn't, Stu, you're a little behind on this, and I won't say too much on it, but we did an episode of Toast the other day with Rob Pruce and Bob Willett, and you were the original cast member of Toast, and then you had to go do other things, and Cam had to go do other things, and then I replaced you guys with Rob Pruce and
with Terry
Bob Willett
instead of Chrissy.
Coy and
I was
Vance.
Chrissy,
Yeah, Terry,
and she's Terry.
Okay, I was going with Coy and Vance, but that works too. But we did a song. We sang I'll Be There For You by Bon Jovi, all three of us, but we changed it to We'll Be There For You. And we sang it for Live Famke.
Oh.
We did that on Tuesday. And I won't go into any details, but I'll tell you more after the recording. But Live Famke needs our love right now.
Well, she can have my love anytime she wants.
So you gave a lot of love to Wiseblood. Give a little love to Live Famke.
Sure.
She needs us now more than ever.
Live Famke, I don't really know what's going on, but by the sound of the concern in Mike's voice, obviously, if I can be there to help pick you up and cheer you up in any way or send love, I will. The best, worst judge in the history of Pandemic Fridays. A great taste in men. She's got the sensual Juan by her side. But not only does she have Juan sensually by her side, she's got all of us, including me. I'm a big fan of hers. I love her. And if she's going through it, anything that I could do to cheer her up, hopefully this helps. I wouldn't sing you a Bon Jovi song. I would pick a better song than that. But if that's your favorite song, so be it. I'll be there for you. Sure. I think we can do better than that, though. Love you, and I hope that you're doing okay. How's that? That's real talk, brother. That's a
beautiful.
shoot.
That's beautiful.
And that.
Actually, before that, I promised I'd say something else. This is the only part of the show that is
Did you
scripted.
start the end song too quickly here?
Yeah, maybe. Hey there, South Etobicoke. Get ready for something truly special. Introducing the Lake Project, an artistic celebration of our beloved neighborhoods. Picture this. Alderwood, Long Branch, Mimico, and New Toronto all captured in stunning detail or on handmade 18 by 24 posters, now meticulously framed and ready to grace your walls.
Meticulously framed.
We're thrilled to announce an exclusive auction where you can own the complete set, which is otherwise sold out. And here's the best part. Proceeds go to charity. It's going to LAMP, which is a beautiful charity here in New Toronto. That's right. By owning these beautiful artworks, you're also making a meaningful difference in our community. Don't miss out on the chance to own a piece of South Etobicoke's history. Visit lauragroup.ca. That's LARAGROUP.ca for more details and get ready to bid. The auction closes on March 15th. And that brings us to the end of our 1,430. What is this?
That can't be right.
6.
Yeah.
1,000. I got to really go fast on this.
1436.
You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky. I'm at Toronto Mike. You can find Stu. He's at Stu Stone.
Yep.
Much love to all who made this possible. That's Great Lakes Brewery. That's Palma Pasta. That's recyclemyelectronics.ca, where you go with your old tech, your old devices, your old cables, and you find out a place to drop them off so they can be recycled properly.
And don't forget to visit Richard Filler for all of your Dick Fill needs.
Raymond James Canada, proud supporters of the program. And
that.
Ridley Funeral Home.
Yes.
They've got a hearse for sale, $25,000. It's a 2010 hearse. It's in great condition.
How many miles on that?
I don't have the number, but he said it's in great condition. You would treat a hearse well.
He only drove it on Sundays.
See you all Monday when my special guest is David Common, host of Metro Morning on CBC Radio 1 here in Toronto. See you all then.